And the teams are on their way out at the Emirates. A home win leaves Arsenal well clear at the top. A Villa win puts them level on points with the Gunners. A draw, and Man City are going to be happy. You've been unwrapping football gifts from Talksport every day this Christmas, but this is the intriguing one still under the tree. The one you've been leaving till last, but you just can't ignore it any longer. This is the big one this Christmas. It's the biggest game of the season so far. Arsenal against Aston Villa, and it's live and exclusive and only on Talksport with former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Sam Matterface.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening, everyone. There is a new year saying that rambles on about ushering in the new and sweeping aside the old. Well, Arsenal will very much hope that with this new year comes new champions. They just hope it's them and not Aston Villa, who have risen from the ashes of the first 5 games of the season to go within 3 points of the summit, and who know that a win tonight takes them level on points with the Gunners and above City into second position for now. Such is the nature of this thrilling Premier League title tussle that right now all 3 can win it. Tonight might tell us just how many real contenders we actually have. It has all the hallmarks of a pivotal night. It's the night we hit the halfway mark in the Premier League, and because these two meet at a point where they are arguably not playing at their best but finding ways to win, it feels more significant than ever. The Gunners have taken 25 points from 27 at home this season, but they face a Villa side chasing a record-breaking 12th straight win in all competitions. Here is the team news. No Declan Rice for Arsenal. We miss him for the first time in a Premier League game since the end of last season. David Raya is the goalkeeper. Timber comes back in at right back. Saliba, Gabriel and Nkapie the back 4. Saliba and Gabriel back together for the first time since November the 8th. Marino, Zubamendi and Odegaard in the middle of the park, with Saka, Gyökeres and Trossard up top. And 5 changes for Aston Villa. Emi Martinez is the goalkeeper, the former Arsenal goalkeeper, won the FA Cup under Mikel Arteta. Bogart comes in at right back, Konza, Lindelof and Digne the back 4. And then it's Onana and Tielemans behind Sancho, Rodgers and Buendia, with Ollie Watkins, who scored 2 goals off the bench at the weekend, leading the line against a team he loves to score pivotal goals against. Referees Darren England, the VAR is Jared Gillett, and this is the only place you will get all 10 Premier League games this midweek. 6 tonight, 4 on Thursday, which is New Year's Day, and includes champions Liverpool and second place Manchester City. This evening we've got eyes everywhere. You won't want to miss a thing, and you won't if you stick with us. And if you want even more, the Talksport app is the place to be. Our focus is at the Emirates, where they sing about an angel and North London being forever, but where one false move could see the halo slip and North London being usurped by East Manchester. It's the biggest game of the season so far for Arsenal and for Aston Villa, and it's only on Talksport. Arsenal in red-bodied shirts with white sleeves and white shorts, attacking the goal away to our right. It's all black for Aston Villa, shooting towards our left-hand side in the first half, and Stuart Pearce is here. Arsenal know that if they are victorious tonight, they send a real statement of intent to the rest of the Premier League.
Well, they extend the points. What you don't need to do if you're Arsenal at the moment with aspirations of winning the title is give encouragement to the blue side of Manchester. They seem to have struck a bit of form, getting good results, and as I say, if Arsenal could extend to a 5-point lead tonight.
Well, Aston Villa were immediately under the cosh at Stamford Bridge at the weekend before Emery's tactical tweaks on the hour mark altered the game. Arsenal in complete control of their win over Brighton before a late wobble that increased the anxiety around this stadium. The ball is all the way back with Emi Martinez away to our right under a little bit of pressure from Gyökeres. He plays it to the left and Victor Lindelof finds Digne, and immediately Marino hassles Tielemans out of possession and then wins it, plays it centrally. Then it goes infield to Trossard, who tries to weave his way past a very aggressive Amadou Onana. The ball spills in midfield. Ollie Watkins gives it away, and it's picked up once again down this right-hand side by Saka. Saka has it 3 yards in from the touchline. It goes back infield to Zubimendi, and then across towards Gabriel. Gabriel back into Zubimendi once again. And then it's Odegaard who tries to take over just right of the centre circle and manipulate the ball into the path of Saka. Saka now faces up Luca Digne, then comes infield, and the Norwegian captain of Arsenal, the very slender Odegaard, tries to pick a pass over the top of the defence to look for the incoming Trossard from the left-hand side. It bounces once inside the 6-yard area and goes behind and away for a goal kick, harmlessly away to our right-hand side. Celtic play their game in hand over Hearts tonight, by the way, but they're trailing by a goal to nil. Motherwell have got in front in the first few moments of that match. It's Motherwell 1, Celtic 0 at Fair Park. Ibrahim Said with the goal there. Ball cleared upfield by Emi Martinez. It comes back down the Arsenal right, but Digne would react quicker than Bukayo Saka. He hoists the ball into the sky, drops for Saliba, and once again we are back with Arsenal and their backline. We're heading to half-time in some of those early kickoffs. Let's go off to the City Ground. Jeff Peters.
Everton lead Forest 1-0 thanks to James Garner's 19th minute goal. Sweet finish after a delicious pass from Dwight McNeil. Forest have knocked at the door a few times. Tarkowski in particular has headed plenty away. He's been immense. Forest 0, Everton 1.
This is Talksport and we're live at the Emirates Stadium. We've played 3 minutes and it is Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. Ball sent out towards this right-hand side. Saka looking to try and get hold of it. It's been quite a cagey start, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, it has. It was interesting. Last time we were here, we had Ben White playing behind Saka on this side, and they got a lot of joy in that game. And I've got a feeling with Buendia playing just in front of Digne, and I'm not sure he quite enjoys that defensive side of the game. They might get an overload, Arsenal, and have some joy down this right-hand side.
There's a penalty, I think, at West Ham United. Ian Abrahams.
It's the penalties in West Ham. It will be taken by Lucas Paqueta. He's put the ball on the penalty spot. He's up against Bruggen, who's trying to make himself big on the line. Paqueta now begins his run up. It's a very slow one. It's a stutter, and then he takes it and slots the ball home. It was after VAR had given handball against Lewis Dunk from a shot blocked from Callum Wilson. Paqueta right on half time puts West Ham back in front. West Ham 2, Brighton 1.
It's been goals galore throughout the course of the evening, and Newcastle leading Burnley by 2-1, 2-2 at Chelsea, 1-0 to Everton away at the City Ground, and now 2-1 to West Ham at the London Stadium. 0-0 here and 0-0 on Talksport 2, where Manchester United take on Wolves. All of the games are available on the Talksport app. Just go down to the bottom right, press live games, and you can access anyone you like. Here is Bogarde for Aston Villa, who haven't really got hold of the ball too often in the opening exchanges. It's been quickly snapped back by Zubimendi, and Villa pushed back inside their own half once again. We played 4 minutes on Talksport. Emi Martinez with a little bit of a stumble there, playing Lindelof into a spot of bother. Took a little deflection off Saka. It definitely goes out for a throw into Aston Villa, despite the protest from the England wide man. Unai Emery comes stalking down the touchline to Barrack, the assistant, on this near touchline. And it goes out for a throw-in which Luca Digne will take. He launches it long down the touchline, headed forward by Timber, chested down by Marino, flicks it round the corner for Odegaard. He's engaged by Tielemans, and it's guarded back to his goalkeeper by Konza. I think we might be in for a very tight game here, Stuart Pearce.
Well, I think the way Arsenal have pressed, you know, Villa haven't really been able to get out their half, and a lot of that's down to the fact Arsenal have pressed aggressively in this sort of middle band in front of us as such.
It's been a fast start by Arsenal in terms of their intensity, and they know that they need to do that. Manchester City's 6-game winning streak has cut Arsenal's lead to just 2 points, making every moment of every game integral for Mikel Arteta's side. Villa have won 11 on the spin. Arsenal have suffered just 1 defeat in their last 24 games, and that was inflicted by Aston Villa. It's likely to be a proper contest between these two very good football teams at the top of the Premier League. Here is Bogarde, who's stepping in for Cash, who's suspended today, to Onana, who is in for the suspended Kamara. The ball is eventually spilled to the far side, and it's out for a throw-in. 12 or so yards down the left touchline, inside the Aston Villa half of the field. It'll be thrown in by Piero Hincapié of Ecuador. He tosses the ball short into Marino. Marino travels and then plays it down the left. A bump pass from Trossard sends it into Nkapie, who gets down in the left wing position. Now Trossard sends it forward. Lovely little touch by Marino. Nkapie has continued his run to the byline, produces a cross. Gyökeres with a header just over the top of the crossbar. It loops beyond the frame of the goal. He got up the highest inside the penalty area there, Gyökeres. It was a lovely move down the left-hand side, eventually coming on the byline to Nkapie. His lofted cross towards the back edge of the 6-yard box was met by Gyökeres. Should he have hit the target, Stuart Pearce?
Well, I think the answer to your question is an undoubtable yes. Lindelof jumped high in front of him, but I still feel as though he should have either taken a little bit of pace off the ball to lob it over him or drive above him and head down.
Listening to the boys at the weekend who were here, Troy Deeney and Alex Crook, they were suggesting that maybe he's a little bit so eager to try and score a goal that he just wants to get it over and done with quickly. He hits it too hard, he rushes the effort. Was that the case there?
I wouldn't apportion that to that actual incident, to be fair.
Here's Timber down the right-hand side, getting into the penalty area. A low cross into the box, which is stopped by Tielemans before it can reach Gyökeres. And then it's cleared out on this near touchline. And there's a delay in the play. Finish your sentence, sorry about that.
Yeah, as I say, in that instance, I think Gyökeres, it weren't one of those instances where you think he's trying to get it over with as quickly as possible. I think he just got caught in two minds and probably thought to himself that maybe Lindelof's jump in front of him, if he did head it directly at the goal, it would have clattered into the back of his head.
Burnley haven't won since October, and they are behind at half-time. Natalie Pike.
Burnley 1, Newcastle 2. Newcastle came right out of the blocks. 2 goals in the opening 7 minutes. The first of the season for Joel Linton and the first Premier League goal in black and white for Johan Visser. Burnley pulled one back 15 minutes later. Josh Laurent with his first of the season. A lovely volley on the angle. Now they had a chance to equalise with 5 minutes left when Edwards' shot was cleared off the line by Cher. Chances galore here. Really fun first 45. Burnley 1, Newcastle 2.
Declan Rice sitting behind the dugouts tonight here as we await play to restart. It hasn't started since you left us, actually, in that collision which involved Ezri Konsa going down inside his 6-yard box. Emi Martinez is wandering forward to take a free kick, and there's a few inside the Arsenal crowd that aren't particularly happy with him taking a few liberties with extra yardage. He's taking time as well. Extra seconds are also causing them a little bit of grief. Kick clear by Martinez, high into the night sky, headed forward by the returning Gabriel, who starts for the first time since the beginning of November. There's another niggly little foul, which gives a free kick to Aston Villa. And it remains Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Arsenal versus Aston Villa, live right now. Search Now Sports. Half-time at the Bonkers Bridge. Here's Talksport's Alex Crook.
Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. This has been a ridiculous first half of football. Bournemouth in front after 6 minutes. David Brooks bundling home from a corner. Cole Palmer equalised from the penalty spot 9 minutes later before Enzo Fernandez picked out the top corner to put Chelsea in front, only for Justin Kluivert from an Anton Semenyo long throw to level once again for the visitors, who probably have been the better team. Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2.
And half-time at West Ham for Ian Abrahams.
West Ham 2, Brighton 1. Jarrod Bowen gave West Ham a 10th minute lead 1-on-1 with Bruggen. Put it in the back of the net, but Brighton equalised with Welbeck's penalty on 32. 2 minutes later he tried a Panenka which hit the crossbar and came back to him before West Ham scored from a penalty. Paqueta 4 minutes into added on time at the end of the half. Talk about bonkers. Live on Talksport app, it's West Ham 2, Brighton 1.
Well, it keeps us busy, that's for sure. All of the commentary is available on the TalkSport app tonight of all of the games and all the goals as they go in right here. Aston Villa have won a throw, and Nana has elevated the ball down into the left corner of the field as Aston Villa look at it. It's thrown in by Digne and into Tielemans, and then they're forced all the way back against their goalkeeper. And they have been, I think, a little bit pragmatic tonight so far, Aston Villa. And some of the credit has to go to Arsenal, but some of that is down to the fact that they're in no hurry to get this game started, Aston Villa.
I think if you're the away team, why should you be? You know, it's not down to them to force the tempo of the game, I don't think. They're not chasing a result at this moment in time, so they're probably playing it quite cutely at present.
Yeah, I don't think there's as much pressure on them as there is on Arsenal, although there's a bit of pressure here on the retreating Morgan Rogers, who was chased all the way by Gabriel, whose pressing was superb. But the ball has bounced kindly for Aston Villa, who break away from halfway with Onana, and his big long strides have taken him to the edge of the area. He goes inside the box, goes down under pressure of Saliba, looks as if he's gone down to ground and asking for a penalty. The referee says no penalty. Saliba indicated that he felt he had dived, The referee says corner.
I think you've got to give Onana some credit there. He's gone down, he got up straight away. I don't think he's looking for a penalty. It certainly wasn't a penalty. He's got straight back up again and played on. And the referee was adamant it wasn't, and he was correct.
It was a quick turnover though, wasn't it? And a real opportunity for Aston Villa.
Yeah, it was. As I say, it broke really well for him. Onana couldn't get a pass away for Buendia, who was on the left-hand side of him.
Kilmarnock Dundee by a goal to nil. Dundee United are 1-0 up away at Livingston. Still Motherwell 1, Celtic 0 in the Scottish Premiership tonight. Corner, the first of the game for Aston Villa, who prepare with Digne standing over the ball to swing this into the Arsenal box. Gabriel and Saliba back together, so that should be a good thing. Out comes the goalkeeper, doesn't get a decent punch on it, but gets enough on it before Lindelof can connect with it. It bounces to the near side, 10 yards outside the area, and Jadon Sancho is making his first Premier League start for Aston Villa, and then he decides to go backwards as well. Yeah, I don't think there's as much pressure on Aston Villa. They're comfortably in the Champions League places, and if the season ended right now, they'd be pretty satisfied with that. I'm not sure necessarily the manager feels the same, despite his proclamations, but I think they'd be pretty happy with where they are right now. Whereas for Arsenal, because of the pressure that's being applied, one from Villa but also from Manchester City, it does feel like a game they have to win.
Yeah, indeed. As I say, it's almost they're playing without the pressure on them, Villa, and I don't think they'd have any pressure on them at all.
Oh, brilliant from Konza, who's pressing, nicks the ball from Gyökeres. He charges into opposition territory, and then Ollie Watkins from 7 yards out slides the ball wide to the right hand upright and misses a golden chance to score for Aston Villa. What an opportunity that was. Breakaway from the halfway line. Gabriel on the ball, plays it into Gyökeres, who's being chased by Konza. He pinched it, ran towards the edge of the area, fed it into Watkins, and Watkins, with a terrible finish, just sort of spooned it wide of the goal.
Oh, I've got to say, Gyökeres really poor there in his hold-up play, just inside his own half. And from that moment on, where Villa didn't get the pass away in the earlier attack, on that occasion, it was a perfect pass for Watkins. And I don't know whether it bobbled up or what it did, but best chance of the game, Sam.
Well, Arsenal have won 3 straight matches since losing at Villa Park. And there have been a few warning signs. One of those is their conversion rate. There have been lots of shots from the Gunners, but a severe lack of goals from open play recently. But the other is that they've started to creak defensively. They've given up a chance there, and Ollie Watkins, when he is in top form, would be putting that away every single day of the week. That was a real chance for Aston Villa, who actually have had probably the best chances of the game so far, and we've played 14 minutes, and they're going through the middle again, and Rodgers is accelerating towards the edge of the area. He feeds the ball towards the right. It's Jadon Sancho takes an extra touch, and Nkapie snaffles the ball from his toes and takes it wide into the left full-back position and clears. But it's another opportunity for Aston Villa, and another moment where they're not clinical enough.
See, I think when we talked about Aston Villa being a bit negative and going backwards and slowing the game down, it might be a tactic to draw Arsenal onto them.
And here are Arsenal at the other end with Timber into the area, a low cross which is steered away by Lindelof, who's making his 4th Premier League start in a row for Aston Villa and has put him some impressive performances. Doesn't get the ball clear enough, and Zubamendi drives down the right hand side to the edge of the area, comes back towards Ødegaard with a flick ball into the box, which comes to Trossard, whose right-footed volley is blocked by Konza on the edge of the 6-yard box, and then it's steered centrally to Onana, and his big rangy limbs start galloping forward again, and there's such a gap for him to run into, and he runs right through it. He keeps going as 2 defenders go to ground. He still retains possession, and Arsenal getting back now and getting numbers behind the ball. Aston Villa slow up, give it to Tielemans in the centre of midfield, and it really is a game of counter-attacks at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and Villa look as though that they're slightly the better at it. Arsenal have come on and tried to press them quite aggressively, but there's been 3 occasions now where Villa have just run through the middle of midfield or passed through the middle of midfield and got in behind the back line.
Well, Villa's 8 straight league wins are all built on fine margins. 10 of their 12 wins that they've picked up this season have been by a single goal. It might be another tight, tense night in the Premier League as Buendia goes up with a challenge on William Saliba. He goes down, the referee gives the free kick, and it's going to be an Arsenal ball just on the edge of their own 6-yard box away to our left-hand side. Rangers hoping to put pressure on the top 2, lead against St Mirren by a goal to nil. Celtic, remember, already a goal down against Motherwell. They're half an hour into their game. In the Premier League, Newcastle leading Burnley 2-1 at half-time. It's Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 1 at half-time. West Ham 2, Brighton 1. And Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. They played 17 minutes on Talksport 2. Here it's 0-0 between Arsenal and Aston Villa. And Aston Villa have had a bright couple of bright opportunities which maybe they should have taken. Anana, one of them. Definitely Watkins had the best of them, and he's got another one here which is shot from inside the centre circle unnecessarily and given it straight back to Raya.
I think he's had a little look at the Arsenal goalkeeper, just advanced slightly. But
well, he does do that, and Richarlison caught him out in the North London derby, didn't he?
Indeed, yeah. And as I say, it's certainly something he's had a look at, taking that on from the distance.
Here's Ødegaard now, travelling backwards toward the edge of the centre circle as Arsenal look to try and reassert their authority on the opening 17 minutes. They've had a lot of the ball, but when it's pinched and turned over, they look vulnerable on transition. Marino tries to feed it down the left. Ødegaard thought he was fouled, the referee didn't, and the breakaway is on for Aston Villa again. And it's Buendia who's leading the charge this time. He's got Watkins to his left and Rodgers through the middle. It's Watkins he feeds, who goes down the left and then right-footed shot towards the far corner. He misses by 7 yards.
I'll tell you what, there's been a few warning signs. Arsenal have got on the front foot in the early stages, pressed really well. But on 3 or 4 occasions now, Villa have been very, very clinical in playing through them, either running with the ball, passing it, or alternatively playing balls beyond the back line that are catching Arsenal out.
It was a poor finish in the end from Ollie Watkins, but the opportunities that they're generating have been multiple.
Yeah, I think what they want is these opportunities to fall to Rodgers rather than Watkins at present.
Yeah, well, Rodgers has been in rare form, 3 goals in his last 4 appearances, but both Watkins and Gyökeres have looked like 2 forwards that are out of form at the moment. Gyökeres with a header which went over the top of the crossbar is the best chance that Arsenal have fashioned so far. That was earlier in the game. But since then, it's been pretty much all Arsenal, all Aston Villa, who have caused problems for David Raya on the breakaway, on the counter-attacks, which I think Mikel Arteta will have to think about a way to stem. No Declan Rice, remember, in the middle of the park for Arsenal this evening because of a knee injury picked up in that game against Brighton.
I'm just looking at Timber's position. Timber's going inside, probably 10 metres, 15 metres, and supplementing the front line, which suits Buendia. All he's got to do is tuck in slightly. I think he might be better suited holding his width and doubling up on this side with Saka against Digne.
Konza chasing out towards the right fullback position. There's a bit of company from Nkapie. Plays it infield. There's a little bump pass, but it's one back high up by Trossard, and joining the attack was Gabriel there. It comes back out to Timber. Timber moves infield towards the edge of the area. Left-footed shot, which is blocked by Lindelof. It's away by Sancho. And then retrieved by Gabriel again. And he's urged forward this time by the Arsenal support. 19 minutes gone, still goalless on Talksport. It's Trossard on the left-hand side. His right-footed cross in towards Gyökeres. Headed away, comes back to Ødegaard. It won't sit down for him. He volleys into the body of Tielemans. It breaks for Leandro Trossard, who's aggressively protesting about the fact that the referee has decided that was handball.
Yeah, as I say, there was a big skirmish in the box. Villa couldn't get rid of it. It's between players, and well, it's pretty high on his shirt, to be quite honest with you.
It looked like shoulder to me.
It certainly did.
The referee gave the free kick in Aston Villa's favour. It took the pressure off of Emi Martinez and his team. And Albert Stuivenberg and Mikel Arteta in close conversation away to our left-hand side, discussing how to stem the flow of Aston Villa counter-attacks.
It makes you wonder why in situations like that the referee just didn't let the game run and then call it back if he had to in regard to a potential handball.
I mean, rely on VAR in that occasion if you're not 100% sure.
OK, message received.
Here is,
was that sarcasm from you? Was it?
It was just raising the prospect, you know. We don't want them to get lazy. We want them to make their own calls. It's there as a backstop, not as a tool to lean on. Well, that's the argument. Anyway, here is Konza out towards the far side into Bogard. Good little turn away by the elegant Rodgers, who motors forward, then clips the ball forward for Watkins to chase, but it's going to be a little bit too close to David Raya. And Ollie Watkins was a little bit too close to David Raya, and he didn't like that as he tried to throw the ball out into midfield. Eventually he does that and it goes out to the far side.
I'm just looking at the amount of joy that Villa have had in this central area, and you think the loss of Rice, maybe that's paid into this as well. His energy to get back, supplement the back line, and you know, the Villa have played through this central area more so than the widths.
Yes, and I do think that also we should factor in that Gabriel is starting a game for the first time since November the 8th, which also means that he's got to get back up to speed pretty quickly. I mean, that's a couple of months off Premier League football. It is going to take a little while for him to get his second wind. Here is Trossard down the left-hand side, skips away from Sancho, low ball into the box, which Bogard managed to deal with, and it goes out of play over on the far side away for an Arsenal throw. It's 0-0 here. What's going on at Old Trafford over on Talksport 2? Here's Mickey Gray.
22 on the clock. Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. United have reverted back to a back five, and Benjamin Sesko coming closest in the game. Worked the ball really well down the left-hand side. Got his shot away low. Slight deflection. Just took it away from the Wolves goal. Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Back here at the Emirates Stadium. It's still 0-0 between Arsenal and Aston Villa, but Arsenal on the attack with Trossard down the left-hand side, cuts in on his right foot, edge of the area, right-footed drive towards the near post, and smothering the ball just in front of the frame of the goal was Emi Martinez, who drops on it, picks it up, and is able to clear. It's a decent opportunity from Leandro Trossard, who's scored some important goals already this season.
I think I thought that Arsenal would get some joy down this right-hand side with Sakura, but to be honest with you, they've probably had more punch down the left-hand side, haven't they, with the odd cross coming in and that type of thing.
I thought it would be the left where they had more joy tonight because of the fact that Matt Cash is not available, because Bogard is playing over there, and it's not his preferred position. He is able to play as a right full-back, but he prefers to play either in defensive midfield, in the centre, or as one of the centre halves. In fact, I saw him play in the Europa League earlier in the season. They pushed somebody else out to right-back so that he could play in the centre of defence, but he's playing out there tonight, and he's got a job on his hands dealing with someone like Leandro Trossard, who is very adept at carrying the ball and taking players on. So is Morgan Rogers, who's just received it from Emi Buendia, and he's running at the Arsenal defence now, being trapped by Marino. Out into the left wing position, and Ollie Watkins. Watkins lays it off and gets it back again from Rogers, edge of the area, and then plays a poor pass through the D, which gives it straight to Leandro Trossard and encourages a counter-attack from Arsenal. They look to build over on that far side. He carries the ball really well, Trossard. He's got Nkapie going on his outside. He goes centrally to Ødegaard instead. Back to Zubamendi, who finds Nkapie far side. He's now up on the left edge of the area, and all the Aston Villa players are back in position and looking to plug the gaps that Arsenal are looking to exploit. And Arsenal just slowed the tempo of the attack, which has allowed Aston Villa just to keep them at arm's length.
Yeah, slight criticism for Arsenal in that front, because when Villa have got the odd opportunity to counter-attack, they've gone with pace and purpose.
Here is Zubamendi, edge of the area, right-footed cross into the box, no one there to get on the end of it, dabbed away by Digne, picked up by Buendia, who pokes it out towards Watkins, who's looking to hold it up here despite the attention of Saliba, feeded back towards Tielemans, and then cleared away down the left by Luca Digne. Digne can't find a black shirt, and it's now with Marino as Arsenal look to turn it over, but the turnover forward, the sharpness of getting the ball forward isn't quite there for Arsenal, and their players aren't set to receive. Here is Trossard down the right. Saka has a little bit more space now, and he attacks the penalty area. He's got support. It's come from Leandro Trossard, who's gone from left to right and then popped the ball through the legs of Tielemans, but couldn't find Saka, and it's cleared away by the Aston Villa defence and up over the halfway line.
Yeah, I don't think this tactical approach from Arsenal's good, tucking Timber right inside. He's literally going in to line up alongside Lindelof on occasion.
Yeah.
I just think a narrow midfield, it suits them defensively, Villa, for Arsenal to do that. I think they've got to punch down the widths and hold the width.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because he tends to do that quite a lot, Timber, when he's playing at right back. Just drift in and join as an auxiliary attacker. Here is Trossard down the left, taking on Bogard. He went past him once and then he's come back the other way. Nkapie into a central area, right in the middle of the Aston Villa half now, towards Zubamendi, and then Trossard, and now Marino. A low ball into the near post, but the offside flag is up anyway. And it's going to be a free kick to Aston Villa away to our right-hand side. They started in the second half at Turf Moor, and it's Burnley 1, Newcastle 2. Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. At Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 1 and West Ham 2, Brighton 1. They're the scorelines from the Premier League so far tonight, with all the games available on the Talksport app. Remember, we've got more commentaries for you on New Year's Day, including Liverpool against Leeds United. Bit of an issue here for Aston Villa, because Amadou Onana has gone down. He needs treatment inside the penalty area away to our right-hand side. And that means that we've got a tactical timeout. And Gianni Infantino would absolutely love this, because right now he'd be running in a commercial for a pair of tyres, wouldn't he? And making even more money for FIFA. And that's what's happening in the World Cup. I bet you any money you like. What would you have made of the opening 27 minutes?
Well, I think Arsenal started it very, very well. First 10 minutes, pressed hard, pressed aggressively. But since then, I think it's been mainly Villa. Villa looked like the team that might force the first goal. Buendia and Rodgers have impressed. And if Watkins can get his shooting boots on and finish the opportunities, then potentially they might have been in front.
Goal at Old Trafford. They've got the breakthrough. Mickey Gray.
Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, and it's come from the left foot of Joshua Zirkzee. They win the ball on the left-hand side. Zirkzee gets himself into the 18-yard area. A slight deflection on its way into the back of the net, but it does go to Joshua Zirkzee. Man United 1, Wolves 0.
A few jaws dropping around the universe there as Joshua Zirkzee scores for Manchester United. They lead by a goal to 0, and it's available on Talksport 2 if you want to listen to the commentary of that game. On New Year's Day, by the way, we've got a bumper day of action for you, starting at Ewood Park, and Adrian Durham will bring you live coverage of Blackburn against Wrexham. Kicks off at 12:30. Game Day Live goes round the grounds from 2:30 with Darren Ambrose and Charlie Adam alongside Adrian. Then we've got Liverpool Leeds. I'll be there for that one with Stuart. Crystal Palace Fulham is on at the same time on Talksport 2. Brentford against Tottenham follows straight afterwards. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. Troy Deeney will be Joe Shannon for that one. And Sunderland against Manchester City could be the game that sends Manchester City top of the table. If it stays like this as it is right now, that's very much a possibility. And we're following Villa again next weekend, by the way. Aston Villa taking on Nottingham Forest. And on Sunday, we've got a bonus commentary at 12:30. Leeds against Manchester United with Steve Bruce and Aaron Lennon in the commentary box for that one. That should be an absolute cracker. We played 29 minutes. The last two have been Aston Villa's medical staff dealing with Amadou Onana, who came in for Boubacar Kamara today. But they look as if they've done their job and he's going to be OK, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, they do. He's up. You never know what's tactical these days and what's an injury. I've got to be honest.
Did you used to have those when you were at West Ham as part of the coaching staff? Was there any sort of symbols to do those tactical timeouts?
No, the only thing we used to say, look, if we get a goal, make sure you celebrate, slow the game down as such. That was about it. That never happened a lot.
It certainly happened a lot more under you lot than it has recently. That's for sure, although they have scored twice tonight. You'd be not surprised to hear that the two players that have scored are Bowen and Paqueta. Here is Saliba into Timber, out towards the right-hand side, and Saka now. Saka looking to take on Emi Buendia down the outside. He goes on the inside instead, a lovely little weave into the box, and then goes down under pressure of Tielemans. The ball lifted to the far post by Ødegaard, comes back to Bukayo Saka, who then connects with Rodgers, and the free kick is given against him. And it's going to be an Aston Villa ball on the edge of the penalty area. There was a moment when Saka drove into the box and he was looking for a penalty there, Stuart Pearce, and he went down in a collision with Yuri Tielemans. Was that a little bit over-exaggerated from the England man?
No, I just think it was a good tackle that floored Saka. That's how I saw it. But I tell you what, Villa have done extremely well. When they've won the ball in their own penalty box, they've played out brilliantly with cushion passes to a teammate. They've not given it away cheaply. Now, normally what happens when I say that, someone will give the ball away in their own box in a minute, and it will cost them a goal.
Here is Ødegaard trying to squeeze the ball back to Marino under pressure. Tielemans brings him down rather agriculturally, arms all over the back of his body, drags him to the floor. That's going to be a free kick 12 yards outside the penalty area. Yeah,
good decision by the referee. Tried to play on, but there was some tugging on the shirt.
I know you're a big popular music fan. You'll be pleased to know that Dua Lipa is in the crowd tonight.
Really?
Yes, she's here. Dancing the night away.
No, gone over my head, that one.
Yeah, well, that's what happens if you're levitating. Her boyfriend Callum Turner is here today as well, and he's very heavily tipped to be the new James Bond. Oh, yeah, he's a big Chelsea fan.
Well, that'll put Durham's lights out. He fancied these chances, or was he a Bond villain?
Free kick. 20 yards back from the edge of the area. Arsenal on the attack here. Ødegaard is going to take it left-footed towards the far post where all the Arsenal players have travelled now, a little bit more centrally, and it's towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It goes straight down the throat of Emi Buendia, who comes out, jumps into the air and gathers the ball up and then manages to clear from inside the 18-yard box. It's brilliant distribution, excellent distribution to pick out Jadon Sancho, who has galloped away to the right-hand side. He gets into the penalty area. He goes on the outside and then produces a cross which takes a loop off Trossard and wins an Aston Villa corner. What an excellent pass from the goalkeeper.
I'll tell you what, he held on to it, and I was about to say the opportunity's gone, but he picked his hitch kick absolutely brilliantly to deliver it onto the right wing, and I've got to say Trossard's galloped back and done good defensive job for his team.
Well, he had to, because Jadon Sancho had received that ball and he did brilliantly to get down the outside. And they have a corner here, Aston Villa, to try and get the opener in the game. Half an hour in. Arsenal, remember, have one of the stingiest defences in the league. They've only conceded 11 goals this season. But Aston Villa have already been responsible for 2 of those. Here's the ball towards the near post, and it was an absolutely dreadful set piece. A terrible corner kick. And I think that will probably not go down as one of Luca Digne's best.
No, it's a poor one. And I've got to say, in the Premier League, I think I see more average corners than I do actual real quality. Yeah.
That was a bit of a duffer, wasn't it?
That was poor.
Put its foot straight into the ground, and it just went into the first man and was cleared away by the Arsenal defence. Ball sent down the right by Aston Villa, who have a throw deep inside Arsenal territory. It's a loose ball and maybe a foul inside there. Could have been a handball, which has given Arsenal a free kick away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, difference between the two sides at the moment. When Arsenal were trying to fashion something, they've normally got to go for at least 8 Villa players. But Villa, when they attack, they go quickly, they play through the thirds or beyond, and they're getting 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 situations.
They're just a little bit more direct, aren't they?
Indeed.
When the ball turns over, they just go straight for it, whereas Arsenal seem to go round the houses before fashioning an opportunity. Here is Trossard. And maybe that's by virtue of the fact that Arsenal are committing more numbers forward in those attacks, and therefore there are less to defend when Villa break. But at the moment, certainly Villa have looked the more potent of the two teams. It remains 0-0, and we play 33 minutes in the game at the top of the table in the Premier League for the right to try and unseat the champions. Liverpool have fallen by the wayside, although they are 4th in the Premier League going into the start of this round of matches. But Arsenal want to be the new champions. Aston Villa might have designs on that too. Manchester City certainly do. They play on Thursday night live on Talksport 2 when they take on Sunderland, and only 3 points separates the whole trio. Here is Zubamendi down the left, looking to try and prise open this stubborn Aston Villa defence. A ball forward by Marino, which was aimed to go between the lines, but it was cut out by Nana. His second ball is better into Gyökeres down the left side of the area, tries to work the shooting opportunity. When he does, he has no power in it, and it's cleared away by the Villa defence. Never looked really confident as he picked the ball up inside the area there, and I think he has got that eagerness to score a goal, so he was looking for the shooting opportunity when really it wasn't on, and maybe he should have tried to find another red shirt.
Yeah, I think once you cut inside and go past 1 and maybe 2, too many players I see try to drive it through the legs, not literally through the legs, but literally through the legs, and if there's a block there, you've got to find a pass at that stage.
Timber goes back infield and finds Saliba. Arsenal having to be patient again. There's been a lot of narrow wins recently for Mikel Arteta, and that has increased a bit of anxiety amongst the support, but they're coming forward here with Trossard, who's ball into the box towards Gyökeres. He's brilliant, and his header is wide. He hits the stanchion behind the goal. It's a lovely ball in towards the near post. He threw himself 6'2", big bulky frame, went flying through the night sky. He connected with the ball, but he sent it wide of the post.
I'll tell you what, Trossard's done brilliantly there, cut inside Sancho, put a ball in a great area, and if there's any criticism at all to Gyökeres, he's just got too much on it. A glancing blow would have put it into the corner, but I don't think you criticise him for that. He showed great endeavour to be the first person to get contact on the ball.
That was a brilliant cross from Trossard.
Yeah, it was. He just left it in there. with great purpose. And as I say, in all honesty, if he'd have missed it, it might well have forced a save out of Martinez.
10 minutes before half-time. You're listening to Talksport live at the Emirates Stadium in North London on a chilly night, where it is Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0, West Ham leading Brighton, Everton leading Nottingham Forest, 2-2 Chelsea, Bournemouth and Newcastle 2-1 up away at Turf Moor. Saliba on the halfway line, chest puffed out and breath visible in the air as he strides forward into the Aston Villa half of the field. He plays it square onto Zubamendi. Zubamendi plays it wide again. Aston Villa all very well choreographed in their movements as they shift from left to right and shuffle over as the ball is switched towards the far side. It bounces off the back of the Belgian Trossard, who lost his coordinates slightly there as the elevated crossfield pass dropped onto his shoulder, and it goes out for a throw-in in the right full-back position.
Yeah, I think even at these early stages, you're thinking, what has the bench got to offer that might change things? We saw at Villa Park a few weeks ago the subs coming on and influencing the game. We might well have that, and you think Arsenal have got a touch more. And I'll tell you what, Saka that's the second time he's failed a player, and to get away with that, it's because he's not. Because he's a more attacking player, that he hasn't been booked in any way, shape or form. But there's two challenges there that both of them probably deserve yellow cards.
Well, he is obviously very well thought of, and everyone thinks he's a nice kid, but that's a technical foul which breaks up a promising attack.
Yeah.
Currently Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. And for the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Arsenal at 7-4 on to win the game. Villa to win is 19-4. The draw is 5-2. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. He has been accused of being a little bit quiet this season, Bukayo Saka. He hasn't been producing the numbers of old, but he was on it on Saturday. 7 shots, 4 chances created and 16 touches in the Brighton box. He hasn't had much joy tonight, and nor have Arsenal. They've had 2 good chances for Victor Gyökeres. He hasn't taken either of them. Maybe it will be third time lucky for the Swede. It's still 0-0. Here is Konza. Out to the far side where Bogard is waiting for the ball. He turns and gives it back to Konza, and they're deep inside their own half again, Aston Villa. Quite happy to try and suck Arsenal onto them and then try and break on the counter-attack. That ball to Digne is difficult for him to deal with. Mikel Arteta, acting as ball boy, wants to get things moving quickly and quickly tosses the ball down the touchline to Timber. He gets it infield to Gabriel, who pokes it down the right wing. Saka chasing, tries to keep it in, but he was in an offside position. And the linesman was always going to make that decision. It seems like a little bit dangerous to allow them to run over to the corner and almost down the camber before he decided to put his flag into the air. Let's have a look at the scores from the Scottish Premiership, where Kilmarnock lead Dundee by a goal to 0. Kilmarnock starting the day in 11th position in the 12-team division. Hibernian 0, Aberdeen 0. Hibs had a good win at the weekend against Hearts. They're 5th, currently beating 6th place Aberdeen. Livingston 0, Dundee United 1. Rangers 1-0 up against St Mirren. Asgard with the goal. Motherwell 1, Celtic 0. There's a goal at West Ham in the Premier League for Talksport's Ian Abrahams.
West Ham 2, Brighton 2, right on the hour mark after Brighton thought they won a penalty which wasn't given by VAR. They had won a corner, it was played in by Karol Matoma, awful goalkeeping by Areola, and just flicked into the back of the net by Joel Veltman at the back post. West Ham 2, Brighton 2.
Wow, 2-2, goal fest of a game down at the London Stadium. They haven't had this much entertainment in about a year and a half. Back here is 0-0. And the throw-in that was given actually before we went through all those scores and gave you a trip to the London Stadium has only just been taken. Aston Villa have been quite adept at keeping the game, well, let's just say quiet. Here's Onana, though, finding Rodgers. A slip by Nkapie could have been absolutely crucial, but he luckily gone up and managed to swipe the ball away before it reached Jadon Sancho over on the far side. Onana and Marino come to blows in the middle of the park. Marino goes all stunt double and does a little couple of forward rolls to make sure that everybody knows that there was contact, and the referee calls both players over and he wants a quiet word.
Yeah, listen, just get on with the game, really. Not much in it from both players. Marino probably made a foul, then he's had a little nibble. gentle rake of the studs over Onana, nothing aggressive, and then a push. Yeah, it was quick chat and off we go.
It was the best bit though was after the little push was the backwards roll. I like that. And just to add a little bit of extra spice to it, a little bit of amateur dramatics at the end of a little tussle. Now, one gentleman's seen enough for the first half. He's going up to get his half-time hot dog. We only know that they do half-time hot dogs here because everyone walks back in with them and they're about 2 foot long. And we see them every time we do the commentary here.
And no one's pulled us one.
Not yet. You never know. New year. People might be in generous spirits. At the moment, no one here is in generous spirits because it's still goalless. But Rodgers, tracking towards his own goal, is under a little bit of pressure. He's kept the ball brilliantly, but he's then given it away to Marino, edge of the area. And somehow the referee has spotted an infringement there, and the Arsenal crowd are not happy about that. They don't believe there was one. They feel like it's an excuse to give a free kick after Rodgers was robbed of possession. He was playing a bit of a dangerous game, to be honest with you. And if anything, he grabbed hold of Trossard's jersey as he was running away with the ball.
Yeah. As I say, taking a bit of a chance in there, but Villa have done that, and they've done it particularly well so far in the game.
Yeah, they're taking a chance here, and Arsenal just upping the pressing mechanisms once again and winning the ball back a little bit higher up the pitch, which has unsettled a couple of the Aston Villa defenders. Onana, the latest to be a victim of that, and Saka has now got the ball 10 yards from the edge of the area. Trossard floats it towards the far post. Timber with a header. Gyökeres trying to get there. He collides with Martinez. Martinez didn't get the ball. The free kick has gone against Gyökeres, and the linesman flags for a Aston Villa free kick just left of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, as I say, Digne didn't get a clear head on it under pressure from Timber. Both players collided. As I say, no foul in there for me. Martinez obviously rolled around a little bit, and Gyökeres did as well, just to make sure that he sent a message to the referee. But just going back to a phase of play earlier, ball into Onana, and he's got the temerity to get turned and stride away in that central midfield area and find the pass into Rodgers. And they've done that on 2 or 3 occasions, and you just think there's the loss of Rice in there, because I think if he's got his power and pace in that central reservation, you don't get away from him.
Absolutely.
With passes
and
like that.
I think you can see that. You know, the pressing game obviously benefits from having him in the team as well, because he's so very athletic. He gets up and down so well, and he gets back and covers in a beautiful position as well. You're listening to Arsenal nil, Aston Villa nil on Talksport, Enterprise, Red Card, whatever it is. They're here for it, and Mikel Arteta has got himself into a spot of bother. He's having a little chat from the referee Darren England, and Darren England is explaining it would be very good if you could stay in that little technical area that we've drawn out for you away to our left hand side, old chap. He says OK, of course Darren, I'll be a good boy from now on, and there is no yellow card, which you'll be pleased about.
I think this has been a really good performance by Villa, I really do. You know, I've watched them play on a few occasions, and you think to yourself, they've been fortunate to come out on top of a game. They've got a good goal, got them out of trouble on occasion, but I think the general performance, even though they haven't scored, has been very, very good.
Well managed.
Yes.
And well choreographed in terms of the tactical plan is to allow a little bit of Arsenal pressure, and then they can hit on the counter-attack. There's been a goal at Old Trafford. Talksport's Mickey Gray.
It's Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and has come from Ladislav Krejci. A whip corner in from the left-hand side. Krejci's free at the back post and nods the ball into the back of the net. Manchester United 1, Wolves 1.
And let's go off to Stamford Bridge and hear from Talksport's Alex Crook.
65 minutes gone. It's Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. We've just seen a really good save from Georgi Petrovic, keeping out a shot from the edge of the area from Esteval. But the natives are restless here. Cole Palmer has been substituted off in place of João Pedro. That decision by Enzo Maresca roundly booed inside Stamford Bridge. And then a chorus of "You don't know what you're doing." Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I don't think that's going to go down particularly well. And this almost didn't go down particularly well as well, because a counter-attack from Aston Villa sent down the right-hand side. Jadon Sancho escapes from Incapio, produces the ball into the box, and Ollie Watkins didn't quite get there. Saliba just about got in front of him and nudged it away. but then we saw the offside flag go up, and the whole attack was neutered out by the linesman over on the far side. The crowd weren't happy about that because they felt that was again an unnecessary continuation of play.
Yeah, you could see by the body language of the linesman that he was going to put his flag up at some given time, so it was a little bit frustrating that he didn't do it sooner rather than later. I've got to say, they normally, when I say normally, in the high 90s percentage get the decisions right. They don't get much wrong with these offside calls. I've got to say, they're outstandingly good at what they do.
We've got 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first 45. And it's Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport. Timber trying to turn away from Buendia. Buendia sticking to his task well. A little bit of grappling from Rodgers. A free kick goes for Arsenal. Ironic cheers from the Arsenal crowd. They can't believe that the referee has gone against them on so many occasions. Rodgers has just blocked the taking of the free kick, and he's going to get a yellow card. It's the first of the game so far. And I think they rather enjoyed that, the Arsenal supporters. 0-0 the score, but it's feisty. It's fiery. It's well matched, and it's in the balance at the Emirates. And remember, at the top of the table, there is every possibility here that if Arsenal are beaten tonight, Manchester City can go top of the table on New Year's Day. If it's a draw, they too can go top of the table, Manchester City, on New Year's Day. So every point counts in this race to win the Premier League. And certainly, even in matches like this, you can't afford to drop your guard. Aston Villa have it on the near side, the left. Luca Digne has possession. He plays it infield to Tielemans as they come forward for the last act, really, of the first 45 minutes. A 45 minutes which Aston Villa, I think, will be happier with than Arsenal. They play it down the left side to Digne via Buendia. He's crossed into the box. He's too close to Raya, and Raya picks it out of the night sky and manages to clear it away. Aston Villa have had a good record at the Emirates Stadium in recent times, but they haven't been able to make the breakthrough so far. The game's a little bit stretched as we go into the final few seconds of added time, but Arsenal again slow up as they get into the midpoint of the Aston Villa half. Trossard leading the attack this time, went backwards rather than forwards, and again numbers are back inside the 18-yard box as the cross comes in from the left, and Buendia will get it away. Then there's the half-time whistle, and there's a very unsatisfied group of Arsenal supporters that are making their feelings known that the referee's not too popular, and that wasn't the best 45 minutes from their team. Arsenal know that beating Aston Villa puts distance between them and the visitors and ensures that they will be top of the halfway point, but they are being made to work very hard for the privilege. Ollie Watkins has had a really good opportunity, at least one in that first 45 minutes, which should have been the one that put Aston Villa in front. Gyökeres has had two good chances, but there's nothing to split first and third in the Premier League at the break. Half-time, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0.
And this is Durham, Adrian Durham, goalless. The only goalless Premier League game tonight, but it's been absorbing stuff, and it shouldn't really be goalless, Stuart Pearce, because early on, Aston Villa had chances, and Gyökeres had a chance as well. He's had a couple of headers. One, he worked hard to fashion himself, the flying header. The other one, great cross. Well, they were both great crosses from Trossard, but the other one, he really should have got on target. Gyökeres has to start hitting the target. You're not going to put it in the back of the net unless you hit the target.
I think it's a bit tough on Gyökeres. He's had a couple of headers, to be fair to him. The one, I think he should have done slightly better with the first one, The second one, he's endeavoured to actually get there, I think was credit to him in itself, but he's tried to open the goal up with another effort coming inside, and probably a pass would have been the better option. But at the moment, they're feeding on scraps at the moment. I think Arsenal, Villa defending very well, and Villa are the team that have impressed me the most. I think Tielemans is on top of the ground at the moment. I think Rodgers is as well, and they look as though they can counter-attack and play through the thirds very, very well. And I think if they get the first goal in this game, it could be a long night for Arsenal.
You've talked about how Villa, a couple of times, Konsa and then Onana strode through the middle of the Arsenal midfield unchallenged. I will point out that this Arsenal midfield three of Marino, Odegaard and Zubimendi all played together at Real Sociedad about 5 years ago. They won the Copa del Rey together. So they know each other very well. It should be an effective midfield, but it looks at times like it's non-existent. It's clearly missing Declan Rice. And I noticed Patrick Vieira's watching in the stands as well. They could do with him. They could do with Dua Lipa stiffening up that midfield as well, couldn't they?
I'm not sure what she can stiffen up, to be honest with you, Aid. But what I would say is this. I think they're missing Declan, that shield that can get back and supplement the back line, as well as stopping players like Onana getting turns on and striding away from players. They're lacking a little bit of legs in that midfield three. And I think, as I picked up earlier, Timber's going in, that tactical approach of inverted fullbacks. I think he might do well just holding his width on occasion and trying to double up on this right-hand side with Saka.
And I will, you mentioned Saka there, and you felt he should have been booked. Timber took the ball, he won a free kick, took the ball well away from where the free kick should have been taken, put it down right next to Morgan Rogers, kicked the ball at Rogers, ref booked Rogers. It just seemed outrageous that Timber was allowed to. It was in a different postcode to where the free kick should have been taken, and a couple of fouls. Saka hasn't seen yellow at all. So some inconsistency from the referee there, I have to say. Let's head to the City ground. What's happened there, Jeff Peters?
We have a goal. Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 2. Tierno Barry's first goal of the season was against Nottingham Forest earlier this month. His second goal of the season is Everton's second here. James Garner, who got the opener early in the first half with a beautiful bit of skill, lovely pass into Barry's path. 2 touches and a tidy finish beyond the goalkeeper, and Everton are 10 minutes away from getting a priceless 3 points. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 2.
I will give you the XG, actually, for the first half here at the Emirates. Bearing in mind we were talking about it beforehand, Arsenal's is 0.57, Villa's 0.54. Any wonder it's Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. It's not 0-0 at Old Trafford at half-time. Talksport's Mickey Gray.
Where it's finished half-time, Manchester United 1, Wolves 1. A really scrappy first half of football that certainly needed a goal, and we got that goal from Manchester United on 27 minutes through Joshua Zirkzee. Good play from Hedden down the right-hand side. He played in Zirkzee at the edge of the 18-yard area. He got his shots away, deflected into the back of the net. But Wolves finished the first half very strongly and got their rewards from Ladislav Krejci. It was a corner played out from the right-hand side by Hugo Bueno. He whipped the ball towards the far post. Slight little deflection on its way, and Krejci was there, free as a bird, to head the ball into the back of Manchester United's net. More to come in the second half. These two sides need a win. Manchester United for different reasons than Wolves. At the break, Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Yeah, but goalless here on Talksport. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. And as it stands top of the table, Arsenal, if it stays like this, will be on 43. Manchester City on 40. Villa on 40 as well. They'll stay third in the table. What it means is New Year's Day, if Man City go to Sunderland and win, they will go to the top of the table, all three having played 19 games this season. That's Sunderland Man City game live on Talksport 2 on the evening of New Year's Day. This is Talksport live at the Emirates for the biggest game of the season so far, but it's the only one tonight without goals. Burnley 1, Newcastle 2, Forest 0, Everton 2, West Ham 2, Brighton 2, all those on the Talksport app. Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2 is live on Talk Radio. Here on Talksport, Arsenal 0, Villa 0, and on Talksport 2, it's Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. 18+gambleaware.org.
Imagine a place where you can escape for a day. Get immersed in a world of rooms, inspiration and expertise. Where you can laze in luxury accommodation. And kids can feast from 95 pence. Tickets are free to everyone and include all the attractions. You've just imagined a day out at IKEA. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Oh, he's really opened up the Sun newspaper there, Jim.
No question, Clive. Straight in the middle and right into the free pull-out goals.
Goals, yes. The ultimate football coverage with the best expert writers. In-depth tactical analysis. Unrivaled coverage from every league and all the latest football action.
Think you've said it all there, Clive.
Sorry, Jim.
Not to worry, I was reading my copy of Goals anyway.
Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday only in the Sun.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then... substitution. His game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Play in a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boost. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
This Christmas, McDonald's and the Elf on the Shelf are bringing festive tasks to your little ones, like writing a Christmas card for your postie.
Thank you. You're one happy helper.
Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 30th of December from 11am. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last. Subject to availability. Fair ordering policy applies.
Don't miss any of the tungsten-tipped top-flight action as the biggest names in darts jockey at the hockey for world domination. The PDC World Darts Championship on Talksport and Talksport 2. With Village Hotels. Get live commentary throughout the entire tournament on Talksport 2. Plus full, unrivaled coverage of the final from Ali Pally on Talksport. The PDC World Darts Championship live on Talksport and Talksport 2 with Village Hotels. Dine out, stay, work out, play.
It's another day at Screwfix, and Sir Mo Farah is still getting to grips with things.
So, Mo, with Sprint Delivery, we get the order to them in as little as 20 minutes. Okay? Mo?
Mo? Done. He was on the 18th floor.
Nice work. But, you know we use delivery riders, right?
Oh, now you tell me.
Sprint it in as little as 20 minutes. Screwfix. No stopping you. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Kick off live on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream over 50 live Premier League games flexibly with Now. Like Arsenal versus Aston Villa live today. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Get unrivaled, precision-guided coverage of the January transfer window on Talksport and Talksport 2.
What a start! Topical transfer talk and outspoken opinion to all the deals as they're done.
My goodness, what a debut!
The January transfer window.
Coming soon to Talksport and Talksport 2.
Chelsea have just missed a sitter. It stays Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2 live on Talk Radio. John McGinn's been doing a fairly healthy warm-up, kind of warm-up that left me feeling absolutely shattered. He's gone back in earlier than the other subs who are out there running around. So maybe he's coming on for the second half. John McGinn, his old club Hibs have taken the lead in the Scottish Premiership tonight against Aberdeen 1-0. Here it's goalless Arsenal against Villa live on Talksport. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
On Sunday on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
So at half-time, it's Arsenal 0, Villa 0. Gunners are 4-3 on to win. Villa 19-4. The draw is 15-8. Over on Talksport 2, Man United 1, Wolves 1. United 6-5 on to win. Wolves 17-4. The draw is 9-5. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Well, let's take you round the grounds tonight on Talksport. We'll head to Stamford Bridge. Still all square there. Talksport's Alex Crook.
10 minutes of normal time remaining. It's still Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. Chelsea have had chances in this second half. Liam Delap headed over the crossbar from 6 yards out. Estefan forced a decent save from Georgi Petrovic down to his right with a shot from the edge of the penalty area. But the best of them all, a few moments ago, Enzo Fernandez, 14 yards out with a goal gaping. He's fired his shot high into the shed end. Groans of frustration all around Stamford Bridge and a chorus of boos when Enzo Maresca decided to take off Cole Palmer and replace him with João Pedro. Fair to say the cracks between the Chelsea fans and their manager Enzo Maresca are starting to show. This one is live on Talk Radio as João Pedro fires a cross-come shot right across the face of goal. It's Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2.
I Remember, it's not so long ago, a couple of days ago, that Enzo Maresca was saying Cole Palmer's ready for 90 minutes. So the fans have got every right to wonder why he's being taken off. Motherwell are on 2 up against Celtic. Elliot Watts, the former Salford City and Bradford midfielder, has got the second for the Well. We'll take you to Turf Moor in the Premier League on Talksport. Natalie Pike.
Burnley 1, Newcastle 2, less than 10 minutes left here. It was a really bright start to the second half for Burnley, who had opportunity after opportunity. Chauner and Edwards with shots that were saved. Pires had a looping shot that Pope had to backpedal to get onto, and Laurent had a header off the bar. But it's looking like now they might have run out of steam. Newcastle have dropped off hugely from their bright start, but Murphy did have a golden chance that he put well wide. Howard's brought on Voltemade, Ramsey and Murphy. It's Burnley 1, Newcastle 2.
And what's happening at the City Ground? Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's Forest 0, Everton 2. We're in the last minute of normal time. Garner with a goal in the first half. Tierno Barry set up by Garner on 79. And Forest just haven't got any answers. Dominating possession, dominating chances, but not really testing Pickford that often. Everton are closing in on victory. Forest 0, Everton 2.
Dundee go 2-1 up on Kilmarnock. Charlie Riley inside the last 20 minutes. We'll take you to the London Stadium in the Premier League on Talksport. Ian Abrahams.
6.5 left. West Ham 2, Brighton 2. Brighton look the side most likely to get a winner, though. Alphonse Zariola's made countless number of really good saves, most notably from Kadioglu and Jorginho Ruto, who's come off the bench in the last few minutes. Dunk has just fired wide as well. There has been one effort from Somerville, but West Ham's effort seems to have petered out. By the way, they have given a debut to Ezra Mayers, the 18-year-old, just coming on as a sub. He's been at West Ham half his life, poor child. West Ham 2, Brighton 2.
Arsenal on their way out. We'll take you to Ali Pally for a quick one with Chris Murphy.
It is a breathtaking game between two former world champions here. Michael Van Gogh and Gary Anderson, who have 5 world titles between them, are bringing out the best in each other. It's Anderson, though, who has taken control. He leads by 3-1 in an absolute classic in which both players are averaging over 101. They've both still got it, no doubt about that, but only one can make the quarter-finals. Anderson is a couple of legs away from doing so, but there could still be plenty of life in this one. 17 180s between them. Great game of darts. Live commentary on the TalkSport app and TalkSport Darts YouTube channel.
Chris, thank you very much. Arsenal back on the pitch. They're in a bit of a huddle, all having a word with each other, and Villa come back out, and as predicted a few minutes ago, John McGinn is going to be making an appearance in the Premier League. Then 4 games tonight are coming to a close. We'll take you there for full times and for further goals at Turf Moor, where it's Burnley 1, Newcastle 2, at the City Ground, where Everton are 2 up at Forest, and to the London Stadium, where West Ham and Brighton are all square at 2 apiece. All those on the TalkSport app. And Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2 is on Talk Radio. Manchester United 1, Wolves 1. Second half about to get underway on TalkSport 2. And here we're about to get underway in the second half. Bukayo Saka, 1 yellow card this season, earlier this month at Aston Villa. Maybe you should have had one tonight already. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. Second half, live and exclusive and only on TalkSport with former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Sam Matchface.
And that change that you mentioned, John McGinn coming on, has precipitated the end of the night for Amadou Onana, who was subject to a bit of medical attention in that first 45, and as a result hasn't come out in the second half of the game. Apart from that, it's as you were for Arsenal, 0-0 the score. I'll go through the 2 11s for you in just a second, but Arsenal are on the hunt early on with a high ball up inside the Aston Villa half of the field. It bounces for Gyökeres and then goes wide to the right hand side. It's hooked away by Lindelof towards the far side, then runs out for a throw-in on the opposite touchline to where we are, which is low in the main stand, just right of the halfway line on the back row of the first tier. A perfect view of the playing surface. A few of the supporters still trundling back in after their half-time refreshments. Arsenal have lost 3 of their last 5 Premier League matches against Aston Villa, and could see Aston Villa complete a league double over Arsenal for the 3rd time in 6 seasons, should they be victorious today. And actually, arguably, if you look back at the chances in the first half, maybe they should already be in front, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, you would say it'd be fair if that was the case. It's certainly been the side edging it slightly.
Gyökeres back to Saka, edge of the area after holding the ball up well. He nudged it down into the path of Timber. It sends him a little bit wide, but the cross is deflected behind and it's out for an Arsenal corner. And Gyökeres there, just stretching the Aston Villa defence with his movement in behind the inside right channel.
Yeah, And I think probably Onana going off and McGinn coming on to play a similar position, I think will weaken Villa a little bit. I thought Onana done quite well, both defensively and offensively.
Well, they have a corner, and we know how effective they can be from corners. Already this season, they've got 10 goals from these situations. And Saka has placed the ball down inside the quadrant over on the far side. His set-piece delivery, usually reliable. Maybe not as good as Declan Rice, but not many people's are. He lifts his right arm into the air and then he addresses the football, and then left-footed swirls the ball towards the far post, right under the goalkeeper, who drops it into his own net. It's in, and Arsenal lead. Gabriel is back. He's put enough pressure on Martinez to smuggle it home, and Arsenal have the breakthrough 2 minutes and 5 seconds into the second half. It's another set-piece goal from Arsenal to give them the breakthrough against Aston Villa. The Aston Villa players are furious. They're claiming a foul on their goalkeeper, but Darren England says that should stand.
Well, as I say, it looked as though the goalkeeper was going to claim it. It was right under the crossbar near enough. But Onana going off, obviously they lost some height. When you look through their ranks, they're not the biggest now. And obviously this will be looked at, but Arsenal pass masters at work in these set plays.
Well, it was a brilliant arcing corner right under the goalkeeper. He did not do enough to try and claim it from my point of view. And it drops out of his hands into the head of Gabriel, and down his body, slides off him and into the net. He didn't know too much about it. The referee has given the goal on field. Is there enough evidence to overturn that for the VAR?
Well, whether there's enough evidence or not, the bottom line is I don't think it's a foul. I think both players competing for the ball and the goalkeeper not doing enough. I think, in all honesty, he should be punching that rather than attempting to catch it over the shoulders of the Arsenal defender.
Well, there's a long wait here as the VAR, back at Stockley Park, Jared Gillett looks into the situation. Now, Aston Villa are going to be disappointed because the referee's given the goal. They'd set up for a foul and a free kick away to our left-hand side, trying to play mind games. But actually, the referee, after consultation with the VAR, very quickly pointed to the centre spot. The Arsenal crowd go wild for a second time in just a matter of moments because they lead by a goal to nil. And they are very good at front-running, Stuart Pearce. They're unbeaten when taking the lead this season.
Yeah, as I say, they probably the half-time break come at the right time for Arsenal. They've reassessed, reloaded. Onana going off as well has not been helpful to Villa. And a poor goalkeeper error in my eyes has cost them.
Well, Arsenal have benefited in the last few games. 4 of the last 6 goals have been own goals. That was not an own goal, but it was a major error by Emi Martinez. The big news is Gabriel back in the starting lineup today, and a team whose set-piece output hadn't been as good while he hadn't been in the team has increased once again. His presence keenly felt. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, it certainly was. As I say, whether Arsenal deserve to be in the lead's a moot point, but the bottom line is they are, and it's down to Villa now to take the game to Arsenal.
Let's go off to the darts. Ali Pally. I think it's Chris Murphy.
It is, and it's big news for Gary Anderson, who's through to the quarter-finals at the expense of Michael van Gerwen. The pair of them have played a classic match, both players averaging over 99, hitting 19 maximums between them in the game. But Anderson won the key moments and has come away with a victory by a margin of 4-1. He moves through to take on Justin Hood in the quarter-finals, and Anderson must now be thinking of the possibility of winning a third world title 10 years after he picked up his second. He's through. Luke Humphries is up next, taking on Kevin Dutz. Says live commentary on the Talksport app.
Full-time at City Ground, Nottingham. Talksport's Jeff Peters.
Everton have beaten Forest 2-0. James Garner scored an early opener, played in beautifully by McNeil, and then late on superbly created an opening for Tierno Barry to net his second of the season, both against Forest, who pushed and probed with no joy. They lose 3 in a row. Forest 0, Everton 2.
1-0 to the Arsenal is doing the rounds at the Emirates Stadium. They lead by a goal to nil, scored by Gabriel. And Aston Villa have got to find a way to spark yet another comeback. Jadon Sancho misses his intervention. The ball runs through to Marino and then picked up by Trossard, who tucks it in field. Goes back out to the wide right position, and Arsenal are on the attack again. 52 minutes on the clock. Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. Emi Martinez is mistaken. Gabriel's goal from a Saka cross from a corner has made the breakthrough here at the Emirates. Can they push on and try and get a second goal, Arsenal? Because we know that no team has conjured up more points from losing positions than Aston Villa so far this season, or indeed over the course of the last 3 Premier League seasons. Sancho on the near touchline, tight to it, guides it back to Bogard. Bogard in possession for Aston Villa, and we'll go off to the game at Turf Moor where there's been, hold on, well we won't, because Sancho's lost it again, and Ødegaard is coming forward. He spun it through to Zubamendi, pokes it home, pokes Arsenal into a 2-0 lead, and that might be the goal that seals all 3 points and bolsters Arsenal's chances of winning the Premier League. It puts daylight between them and Aston Villa. Sancho with the mistake in midfield, picked up by Ødegaard. He fed Zubamendi. He's only ever scored goals in 1 game for Arsenal before, but he scored a crucial one here. It's Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0.
Well, I don't think Unai Emery will be too enamoured with Sancho, to be fair. He jumped out the way of a challenge slightly earlier, a couple of minutes earlier. Nothing come of it. When he jumped out of the way of that one, it left Villa wide open, and Arsenal took the opportunity to go through the middle, interchange of passing, and a really clinical finish once he got in. And the game has changed totally on its head. Great ball by Ødegaard, I've got to say.
Oh, it's terrific. And it could be a significant moment in the season, this, for Arsenal. A terrific finish from Zubamendi, who held his run to the very last moment, fed off that brilliant ball from Martin Ødegaard, and he poked it beautifully into the corner beyond Emi Martinez, and it's 2-0 now to the Arsenal. Let's go off to Turf Moor. There's been a late goal for Natalie Pike.
Yes, Burnley 1, Newcastle 3, and we have just got seconds left of this game. It was Bruno Guimaraes with his 6th goal of the season. It came from a blunder from Dubravka, though. His poor clearance outside of the 18-yard box went straight to Bruno. 25 yards out, he curled the ball home. This is going to secure just a 2nd Premier League away win of the season for Newcastle. Burnley 1, Newcastle 3.
Thank you very much. That's Natalie Pike watching Burnley and Newcastle. We've been taking you everywhere tonight as we bring you all of the games in the Premier League on the Talksport app, live commentary from all of them, and you're listening to Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0 here on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with now you can stream all of the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Arsenal against Aston Villa live right now. Search Now Sports. Here is Ødegaard into Zubamendi. Zubamendi now down the touchline on the right hand side, cuts the ball back to Saka. Saka trying to come infield. He twists away from John McGinn. Wants a free kick, he's going to get that. 5 yards outside the box. McGinn protesting his innocence, but the referee is not for turning. That's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box.
Yeah, it looks as though Villa are going to ring the changes, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sancho's going to come and sit behind the manager now. He doesn't strike me the sort that would allow his players to get out of the way of challenges, especially when they become as costly as they certainly did. I may be wrong.
And one of his players who's about to come on can't find his own shirt, which doesn't bode particularly well. Andres Garcia, who hasn't put one on, actually, to be fair, since the middle of April last year, has just found one and is about to come on and into the fray here. Donyell Marlon about to come on too. We'll go to West Ham where it's full time in just a second, but we have a free kick to Arsenal, attacking the goal away to our left and leading by 2-1. The ball put down by Ødegaard away to our right hand side. He's going to hit this left-footed. It's going to be an arcing delivery infield, which will be aimed towards the penalty spot and be attacked by Marino and Gabriel and Victor Gyökeres. The referee waits, blows his whistle, makes sure that the one-man wall is set, and then it's flicked in by Ødegaard towards that penalty spot area. It misses the goalkeeper again, bounces inside the 6-yard box and eventually fended away. God knows what Emi Martinez was doing there. He just seemed to fall over backwards and land on his backside whilst the ball bobbled around in front of him inside the 6-yard box.
Yeah, he committed to come and get the ball in to start with, but there was no pace on the ball and he found himself in no man's land, really, and you described it better than I could. Fell on his backside.
Arsenal about to go 5 points clear at the top of the table if it stays like this. 2-0. Daylight between them and Aston Villa. They have come from 2-0 down before this season. They did so at Brighton earlier in the campaign, but this looks like a tougher task against the stingiest defence in the league, led by Gabriel. who's just eaten up the ground and taken the ball off of Rodgers. Well won by Nkapie on this near side. I'm not necessarily sure that was a foul, by the way. Rodgers has gone down, he's won the free kick, and we'll go off to full-time at West Ham and Ian Abrahams.
West Ham 2, Brighton 2. West Ham twice led through Jarrod Bowen and a Paqueta penalty. Welbeck spot kick. He also missed one with a Panenka off the crossbar. Veltman scoring in the second half. Brighton did finish the stronger. West Ham 4 points from safety. Go to Wolves on Saturday. Finished here, West Ham 2, Brighton 2.
Yeah, it might be a big point that for West Ham United. Here is the free kick to be taken on the near touchline by John McGinn of Aston Villa. He'll hit this left-footed and arc it in towards the 18-yard box. There are 6 black shirts to aim at. He gets it towards the penalty spot. It's flicked into the air by Emi Buendia. Further away by Saliba. And then Tielemans, just tracking backwards, is pushed further away from goal by Odegaard. It's a good shape from Arsenal. And the ball goes towards the halfway line. Back with Sancho again on this near touchline, trying to take the ball down the touchline. Nkapie is trying to shepherd him infield, doesn't really know where to go with it, gives it to Rodgers just about. Rodgers tries to bend his run round Marino, brings him down. That's going to be a free kick, and could that be a second yellow card for Marino? That is what Rodgers is asking, because Marino was booked in the first half of the game, and he's asking whether or not that was breaking up the promising attack. Well, definitely grabbed his arm and dragged him to the floor here, Stuart Pearce.
That's a booking offence. You know, it really is. I mean, we saw I thought there was 2 in the first half, both by Saka, that probably deserved a booking. On another day would have been. And I think Marino's got very, very fortunate.
He is a lucky boy, I think. I wonder whether Tielemans should have been given a yellow card in the first half as well. Saka certainly could have picked one up. Marino probably should have done there. Here is the free kick, touch to Rodgers, giving him some room to shoot. He tries to do that. Gyökeres is out, and he gets right up to him and blocks the effort, which was aimed towards goal, and goes back to halfway. Off to Chelsea for full time, Alex Crook.
It's finished Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2, all the goals in a frantic 21-minute period in the first half. David Brooks stunned the home side by putting Bournemouth in front in the 6th minute. Cole Palmer equalised from the penalty spot before Enzo Fernandez picked out the top corner to make it 2-1, only for Justin Kluivert to equalise 4 minutes later from a long throw. Chelsea had chances in the second half. Fernandez missed a sitter, but they could have lost it in stoppage time. Enisu now with a goal gaping, blazed into the stands. Enzo Maresca booed when he took off Cole Palmer. Chelsea booed at full time. It finishes Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's going particularly well, does it? Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. Reaction on the sports bar straight after the game. And these two drew 0-0 at the Vitality in December. And Chelsea have thrown away 11 points at home from winning position. Had to fight back today in order to get something from that game. Here the ball is on the near side. Actually, they threw away another 2 points today, didn't they? Because they were 2-1 up at one stage. Corner for Arsenal away to our left-hand side. They line up once again to try and attack from the far post and then run in towards the near. Saliba is stalking the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball is at the feet of Leandro Trossard, who's going to take this corner. In front of the north bank away to our left-hand side. It's the Belgian who delivers the ball right under the goalkeeper at the near post. It's smuggled goalwards again and then somehow elevated over the top of the crossbar. Saliba and Gabriel were in there, but I think it was Timber who took it over the top. It was a real mess in front of Emi Martinez once more, and Arsenal's blocking off has been pretty effective of the goalkeeper.
It certainly has. It's absolute carnage for these. They're just tossing the ball in the box. Really good delivery. There's no surprise there that Sancho's coming off.
Yeah, Jadon Sancho being replaced by Daniel Marlon, and on comes Andres Garcia for Emi Buendia in a little bit of a defensive move actually, and so we'll see how they shape up as a result of that change after we've been to full time at Burnley for Talksport's Natalie Pike.
Burnley 1, Newcastle 3. Newcastle with 2 goals in the opening 7 minutes, the first of the season for Joel Linton and the first Premier League goal in black and white for Visser. Burnley pulled one back 15 minutes after Josh Laurent with a lovely volley on the angle. In the second half, it was a really bright start for Burnley. They had opportunity after opportunity, but they couldn't make them count. And then with only minutes left, Bruno curled the ball home after a Dubravka error to make it 3. As it stands, Newcastle will jump to the top half of the table into 10th. Burnley will remain 6 points from safety. Burnley 1, Newcastle 3.
I don't think you can underestimate the impact of Gabriel on this team, both at the back and at the front.
No, you can't, but he's done brilliantly coming through Watkins on occasion, getting in front of him, shows aggression. You've got to do a multitude of things in a game, especially when you're going against head-to-head with really good sides like Aston Villa are. And in this game, he's done that for Arsenal, and Sancho's jumped out of the way of 2 challenges. One have cost his team a goal.
Yep.
And that's a crime you can't do.
Not if you want to win the title, or you want to be talked about in circles like that. And Aston Villa and their supporters certainly wanted to be talked about in those circles. But they trail here by 2-0, 2 second-half goals, one straight after the restart and one very shortly afterwards. In fact, 2 goals in the first 7 minutes of that second half have really blown Aston Villa away. Here is Saka down the right, getting towards the byline, being chased by Digne. Gets it back to Timber. Ødegaard inside the area now. Onto his left foot, drives it towards the near corner. It's over the top of the crossbar. Good opportunity. Good shot from Martin Ødegaard. And a real chance for Arsenal to extend their lead.
Yeah, he's opened the goal up a little bit and he's just cut it back and put his laces through it. Just got too much height on it. You thought he was going to curl into the far corner.
Martinez clears from the goal kick, and it's right up towards Donyell Malen. Gabriel comes across comes Trossard. Again, there was hardly anything in that. Little technical foul. Malen went flying up into the air, grabbed his shin, then realised the free kick was ready to be taken, so bounced back up and went down the touchline. Remember, substitutes could be a major differential in this game, because Villa have 8 Premier League goals from substitutes this season. If they need it, usually that's where they come from when they're chasing a game. And they've already brought on McGinn and Malen and Garcia. They've got 2 changes to come. They don't have much more on the bench. Martson only really the other senior player. The rest are young teenagers. Here is Garcia down the right, playing his first game for Aston Villa since April. Knows how to play and away for a throw-in on this near touchline. He throws the ball back in. This time he throws it in towards Konza. Unai Emery is basically coaching Garcia to get forward down the right-hand side, telling him where to stand. Marlon's picked it up in a pocket of space on the edge of the area. McGinn is there for company. Garcia has got it right side. He bends the ball in towards the near post, and there's a header away by Gabriel, and I think he kicked... he got kicked in the head by Tielemans, who was challenging for the ball, and a free kick has been given in Arsenal's favour.
See, to be fair to Gabriel, he's lost his footing, he's gone down, he can bring no more than 2 feet off the floor when he heads the ball. And, well, listen, he probably just slightly got first contact on the ball, and the initiation of a foot comes slightly later.
Now, Arsenal going to make a change as well. Looks like Christian Norgard is about to come into the team to try and stiffen the midfield and just see out this victory. There are still 25 minutes to go, and any sort of Aston Villa goal now might just increase the anxiety. At the moment, it feels pretty comfortable inside the Emirates, and Arsenal will want it to stay that way for as long as possible. They've lost just 2 of their last 30 matches, and as I said, they're unbeaten when taking the lead so far this season. They're very strong front runners, Arsenal. Here is Saka trying to flick it on. And they do look a little bit of a different team, actually, today, especially since Gabriel has found his feet in the second half of the match. In the first half, they looked a little bit too open through the middle of the pitch, where they were counter-attacked upon on a couple of occasions. But as the game has gone on, they've looked like they're in control. And here's Marino onto Ødegaard, edge of the area, left-footed shot towards the far corner. It's a brilliant save down low by Emi Martinez, who keeps the scoreline at only 2.
Yeah, it was right under Ødegaard's feet, and he done really well to shovel it out. Once again, good pressing by Arsenal. Turned the ball over in a bad area for Villa, and he just couldn't have a full swing at it, basically. It's almost a straight leg toe bung. I'll tell you what, it was probably just edging inside that far post.
Oh, it was. And he did brilliantly to get down to his right and tip it round, did Emi Buendia. Here is the corner, away to our left-hand side, to be taken by Leandro Trossard. Trossard to place it on the edge of the quadrant. Arsenal leading by 2-0. Norgard about to come into the game. There's a real melee every time Arsenal take one of these corners, and this time it's towards the back post. It's headed down, it's loose inside the area, it's flicked away, comes back towards Zubimendi, hits it against Digne, and then it bounces out of the penalty area, and it's rescued by Ødegaard, who gets it back to his goalkeeper. But another corner and another series of problems for Aston Villa at the back, because they just cannot deal with the deliveries into the box.
They can't. They've not got the height in there. The goalkeeper's not helping them out. It's a crowd scene around the goalkeeper. And every time they get a corner, you think they're going to score.
Zubimendi's been excellent in the middle of the park tonight in the absence of Declan Rice, just breaking things up when necessary. It looks like Norgard is going to come into that area for the final 24 minutes of the game, and Marino is going to be the one who is sacrificed. Here is Tielemans, who moves forward, pokes it into the path of Rodgers. Marino intercepts. It's won by Trossard. Lovely ball in towards Ødegaard. Ødegaard now galloping at speed through the middle of the Aston Villa half. He's got space on his left for Piero Hincapié, who just falls over. And it almost looked as if someone had taken him out with a rifle from the top of the stand.
He not only fell over, he double handballed the ball as well. All carnage happened there. But now Arsenal are delivering to Villa what Villa did to Arsenal in the first half. Counter-attacks quickly, with purpose. And unfortunately, he couldn't keep his foot in there.
It was a brilliant counter-attack led by Ødegaard, who seemed to drive right through the middle of the pitch. There was no one to encumber him. Here is Marino down the left, getting it from Trossard into the area. We're into the 68th minute of the game and it's 2-0 Arsenal. Hincapié down the left now. Back infield to Trossard. Trossard looking for a shooting opportunity. Tries to work it onto his right. He travels to the edge of the D. Gives it to Saliba. And they keep the ball moving, Arsenal. And Aston Villa trying to keep them at bay. Saka. Now Trossard has popped up over on the right-hand side. Back into Saka. And then the ball into Timber. And he goes down inside the area, no penalty. Ødegaard keeps moving because Arsenal are on the attack despite the appeals. And he threads the ball out wide towards Hincapié. It's picked up by the Ecuadorian, who tries to force it into Ødegaard again. He twists the ball into the far post, and it comes towards Saka, who's a bit behind him. And then Timber's won at edge of the area. Trossard has hit it in. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Trossard. He scored at Villa Park, and he scored a crucial clinching goal here. And maybe, just maybe, this might be the night that Arsenal's doubters turn into believers, because they are going 5 points clear at the top of the table, and they are beating Aston Villa, and beating them well. It's Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, in all honesty, referee is just
hold on a
signaling.
second. I don't think it is, because they're going to disallow the goal for offside. They're checking for a disallowed goal for offside here as the ball came into the penalty area. Is the referee going to chalk this one off?
I think it's handball that he was signalling.
Where's the handball?
I'm not sure whether it was Saka coming back on the ball. I don't know. We can't see from the angle we've got.
Well, it wasn't Trossard, and it was accidental handball if it was. I mean, it's a massive call, this. I mean, it might be offside now they're checking for. So we've got possibility now of offside from the initial cross. They're now reviewing that particular incident. So they've obviously cleared the handball, and now they're looking for the offside.
Yeah. The one thing we can say at this moment in time, if anything, it looks like Arsenal are going to get the next goal, whether it be this one or later in the game. They're the team with their tails up at the moment, and they're the team playing with confidence.
OK, so we're still waiting for Darren England and Jared Gillett to decide whether or not this is offside. The fact is this is very, very tight infractions. I don't think there was a handball. That's been cleared. Now we're checking to see if there's a disallowed goal for offside. This is very, very tight from a left-wing cross with Saka inside the penalty area. We'll use the semi-automated offside technology pictures to try and work out whether or not this is the case. I thought it would be a little bit sharper and faster than this by now, to be honest with you, with the semi-automated offside technology. We're looking at Darren England to see whether or not he's receiving instruction. The goal looks as if it is going to be disallowed. Ødegaard and Konza, the two captains, are being called over. He is explaining the decision. Now, they've checked the handball. I don't think there's an infraction there. The offside does... Well, now I've looked at it again. It does look as if it might be offside here in the build-up to the goal. But they are just waiting to see whether or not that is in the first or second phase of play. The attacking phase of play has to be checked by the VAR and the assistant VAR. It's a very long VAR check, this. It's going on for a very long time, and it doesn't look that complicated, really. It's either offside or it is not.
That narrows it down.
Crikey. I mean, it's absolutely tense inside this stadium now. All of the Arsenal supporters waiting to find out whether or not this goal is going to count, and it is definitely going to count. Arsenal do lead by 3-0. The referee ensures, after consultation with his VAR, which was absolutely painstaking and painful, that Arsenal do have that 3-goal lead, and it is another moment of joy for these Arsenal fans to experience. 2 minutes 45 seconds that VAR check. I'm not going to say it was worth the wait, but certainly for those Arsenal supporters, news of that third goal is a mighty relief, Stuart Pearce.
It certainly is. I think on the run of play and the ascendancy of the teams, even if they didn't extend to a 3-goal advantage, they're playing with confidence at the moment. They're playing with aggression, Arsenal, and they're the team dominating this second half. It's been tough on Villa. Villa played extremely well in the first half, but didn't get the breakthrough. And if you don't, you're going at half-time. And often the case, the pattern of the game changes. And we've seen that today.
Do you know what I think happened there? I think the referee ruled that out initially on field for handball without being able to see it properly. The VAR have then watched it and said it was no handball, and then they've spent 2 minutes checking for an offside.
Well, whatever it was, it took a very, very long time to decide, that is for sure.
Well, Mikel Arteta and most of these Arsenal supporters went through the ringer during that period.
I tell you what, it's not bad going through the ringer when you're 2-0 up, though, and that's the third goal they're checking.
It's a lot better going through the ringer.
Makes life a lot easier.
Yeah. Although the anxiety that has been around the Emirates in the narrow victories against Brentford and Wolves and Brighton recently just has added to the sort of sense of a little bit of tension with Arsenal's lead being eaten into. The last thing they needed was any setbacks. They needed a routine statement victory tonight. This might be a statement victory. They don't beat the teams in the top 7. The only team they've beaten in the top 7 so far this season, Manchester United on the opening day. This is going to be a big scalp at a big moment in the season.
Yeah, this game could go comfortably to 4 or 5, to be honest with you, the way things are going at the moment. Arsenal have got their tails up. All their players are playing with super energy.
Well, Arsenal leading by 3-0 on a big night of Premier League action. It's still 1-1 between Manchester United and Wolves over on Talksport 2, which is quite fascinating, really. And here is Tielemans into Watkins, back to Lindelof, back to Tielemans again. Tielemans feeds the ball into Watkins, a little pirouette, and then out wide it goes to Rodgers. Rodgers trying to twist and turn on the edge of the area, and he fires a shot goalwards, and Gabriel is there to head the ball over, and he celebrates like he's just scored another goal.
It's top quality defending there. As I say, Rodgers has done brilliant, wriggling away from it, and brave defending. About 4 or 5 yards in front of his goalkeeper. The ball going in the top corner, and there he is, sticks his head on it to divert it.
Absolutely terrific from the Brazilian. He returned off the bench at the weekend. He's never scored against Villa before today. He has now. And what a moment that was. Here he is now having to defend a corner from Aston Villa, but Gyökeres is back there to do that job for him as this angled in by Tielemans on the far side, headed away to the halfway line. Back out to Tielemans it goes, far touchline. He scoops the ball over in Capier, tries to get into the area, does get into the area, a low ball towards the near post, smothered by Raya and cleared away. Well, this is Unai Emery's third away Premier League match at the Emirates since leaving Arsenal. He is only won 1, drawn 1 whilst in charge of Aston Villa. No former Gunners boss has ever gone 3 league games in a row without losing after leaving the club. But there is a little bit of concern here because Gabriel has now gone down inside the penalty area. He is going to come off to be replaced by Luis Skelly in just a moment. Jesus coming on for Gyökeres. But you do hope that there's no serious damage there.
I think you'll find that Arteta's just told him to go down. This is tactical. You asked about tactical injuries.
Yes.
You've just seen one now. Chances are he might well come off.
He is going to come off
at this stage, and it's a tactical approach.
Well, off comes Saliba. Luis Skelly is coming on. And the other change is the end of the night for Gyökeres, and on comes Jesus. He's just getting a little bit of treatment inside the area. Hopefully there's nothing more to it than that. He's gone off behind the goal now, and he's going to go off, and on comes Miles Lewis-Skelly and Gabriel Jesus, who's looking for his first goal since New Year's Day. Comes on as well. And he replaces Victor Gyökeres, who's worked again but has no goal. I mean, it's not quite the perfect night for Arsenal, because if it was, they'd win this game 3-0 and he would have scored, Gyökeres.
Yeah, indeed, but I think he's done some decent work for the team, if I'm being honest with you. Defensively as well, he's got his head on a few things in his own box, let alone the opposition's box.
Aston Villa had a really good first 45 minutes. They had a really bad first 45 minutes against Chelsea. The second 45 minutes, they've looked like the second best team in this fight, haven't they?
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, for me, it all started from Sancho jumping out of the way of two challenges that he was favourite to win both. One of them ends up in the back of your net, and all it does is, it's like seceding to a bully, you know what I mean? Arsenal are a very aggressive side, especially the two central defenders, in a fair way.
Gabriel comes back down the touchline. Having him and Saliba back together is certainly a major plus for Mikel Arteta. That has to be mitigated by the loss of Calafiori that they had at the weekend in the warm-up. But here is Zubamendi steaming over halfway, beating Andres Garcia and feeding Trossard, who then in turn finds Gabriel Jesus edge of the air, right-footed shot. Oh, brilliant! Curls it past the goalkeeper and into the corner of the net. And Gabriel Jesus ends a 363-day wait for a goal. Back from injury, back to fire Arsenal to the top of the Premier League. This is a statement win by the champions-elect. That's what they want to be. That's how they want to be seen. And after tonight, they might just be. 4-0 the score. Jesus from the edge of the area. A curling shot into the far corner. Unreachable from Martinez. And it's Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 0.
Well, as I said, this game could go to 4 or 5 on the run of play. Garcia really disappointing with his challenge just in front of us. And from that moment on, when the ball come to Jesus, he's used Lindelof as a shield to guide the ball around him.
Gabriel Jesus was on the pitch for just 55 seconds, and he has picked his spot, and he's found his first goal since New Year's Day, his first since return from that awful injury that robbed him of nearly 10 months of football. Brilliant from Trossard again, involved in the build-up, and that is an unerring finish from the edge of the box, curling it inside the post. Brilliant from the Brazilian.
Yeah, it certainly is. Arsenal have got their tails up. You know, ever since the half-time whistle, the interval's come at the right time for Arsenal. It really has, and they've come out. Onana missing for the second half, and it's been chalk and cheese, both performances from both teams. Really.
Given away by Bogarde and now picked up by Ødegaard. It's on to Saka. Could this be 5? It's Saka over the bar. Well, there was a great opportunity. He could have squared it actually to the far post where Gabriel Jesus was lurking inside the 6-yard area. And for all the narrow victories that Arsenal have had to endure over the course of the last few weeks, this is an absolute game-changing victory. 4-0, massive daylight between them and the opponents. No anxiety tonight. This is all about joy and celebration for the Gunners.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of that's down to Aston Villa. They've lost their way in this game, they really have.
Yellow card for Gabriel Jesus. Don't know what that was for, maybe for taking his shirt off. Yeah. Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 0. And for the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Saka to score next at 10-1, Marlon to score next at 12-1, Trossard at 11-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+, BigGambleAware.org. I mean, such is the paucity of the squad that Aston Villa have got, which is why I think they can't be as bigger contenders as Jesus goes in behind down the left-hand side. Saka at the far post waiting for the delivery, and he gets there and he glances it wide. Comes back to Timber. It's into the box again, and McGinn will head it clear. I mean, they're going to bring on 2 teenagers now, Aston Villa. Tielemans and Rodgers going off for Jimo Aloba and George Hemmings. I think that's just an indication to the Aston Villa board that they need help in January. There was a late challenge on Zubamendi there. Miles Lewis-Skelly went charging forward. He was held back in the end. And there's going to be a free kick to Arsenal 10 yards inside opposition territory. Yes, goal celebration was the reason for the yellow card for Gabriel Jesus.
the referee's brandished a card there, I'm led to believe, and it's quite incredible, really, because there's been probably about 3 or 4 incidents of players tripping and pulling back that haven't been carded.
I think that was Bogard, wasn't it, who's got the yellow card there. Here's the change then. Rogers coming off, Tielemans coming off, and on comes the 2 youngsters, Jimo Aloba and George Hemmings, who joined from Nottingham Forest in 2024. He's only 18 years of age. Jimo Aloba is an attacking midfield player. He's making his Premier League debut tonight. FA Youth Cup finalist. And I think I was talking to Alex Crook about the possibility of Aston Villa adding numbers in the January transfer window. He said it was unlikely that they're going to spend too much money, but they might have to dip into the loan market. Noni Madueke is coming on, and Saka is coming off, and Ben White is replacing Urian Timber in a welcome return after he did well. The camera just pans to Declan Rice, and you can see him smiling in a bobble hat behind the dugout. And everyone's smiling inside the Emirates Stadium, unless they're from that small contingent over in the far corner that have got to make their way back to Birmingham, Stuart.
Yeah, indeed. As I say, it really has been a game of 2 halves, I've got to say. One team's taken their opportunities and probably wanted it a little bit more over the 90 minutes potentially, and felt as though they had to win this game, Arsenal, if they've got title credentials, and they've certainly shown that they have tonight. The result in itself probably doesn't tell the whole story, but the result at the moment is absolutely fantastic for Arsenal, and it wouldn't surprise you if they extended it even more.
Well, Arsenal lead by 4-0. Newcastle beat Burnley earlier. Chelsea drew with Bournemouth. Nottingham Forest beaten at home by Everton. West Ham drew with Brighton. And Arsenal absolutely pummelling Aston Villa. But what's happening at Old Trafford? Because there might be another story developing there. Mickey Gray.
Certainly is, Sam. There's 4 minutes of the 90 left. Still Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And it's Wolves who are pressing for the winning goal. They've come close on numerous occasions. Manchester United have been so poor in the whole of this 90 minutes of football. But in the second half, they have been really, really poor. Wolves are really pressing at the moment. Good game here for them, for the away side. Man United 1, Wolves 1.
Thank you very much, Mickey Gray, who's watching the closing stages of that game that continues over on Talksport 2. Here, Arsenal just enjoying popping the ball around and being rather happy to keep possession inside their own half. A few Olays doing the rounds. Nkapie and Odegaard just exchanging passes deep inside their own half. Obviously been very, very comfortable. 8 of the 14 wins that they've had before tonight have been by a single goal. So this will mean a lot that they've managed to come up with a statement against one of the best teams in the league, Stuart. It
certainly is. When Villa come here, especially at half-time, when you walk back in the dressing room and the run of play has been as it is, for your team with 6 minutes or so to go to be 4-0 up, Arteta must be absolutely delighted. And these Arsenal fans are as well.
Well, they certainly are, and they should be as well, because the performance has been brilliant. 2.44 expected goals, 17 shots, 6 on target, 13 inside the box, 4 big chances created and 4 goals scored. And actually, it feels like they probably could have had more in the second half. In the first half, they were opened up a couple of times. And you go back to that early part of the game now, and I think Unai Emery will be ruining those missed opportunities in the first half.
Yeah, they needed to get their nose in front, looking back. I don't know how many of those efforts by Arsenal were actually in the first half, but certainly my eye tells me very, very few. And they've certainly bossed this second half.
Well, 7 shots from Arsenal in the first half, but only 1 on target in that first 45 minutes, as you said. But in the second half, 10 shots, 5 on target. The balance certainly tipped after half-time, and the balance tipped in Arsenal's favour now. They're going 5 points clear at the top of the table. So often Aston Villa have come up with a moment, a turning point, but Arsenal haven't allowed them any way back into the game. Lindelof up towards the halfway line, feeding it into Konza. Konza gets it back to Lindelof once more. Then it's infield to Hemmings. Hemmings plays it wide. Digne takes over. He travels infield and plays it back to Lindelof. I just think that Arsenal showed their strength in their level of resources as well, being able to bring back Gabriel today, being able to draw on such an extensive bench whenever they needed. Madueke's come on tonight, Jesus come on tonight. Top quality international stars that can make a real difference. And then when you look at the players that Aston Villa have brought off the bench, it shows you that they are just a little bit too light, I think, to even consider being title contenders. A foul against Zubimendi has been impressive this evening. Remember, no Declan Rice tonight for Arsenal. It's been a big miss. And they go on to games now, big games to come over the course of the next few weeks against Bournemouth, against Liverpool live on Talksport, with that advantage at the top of the table. And it says to Manchester City, you've got to go to Sunderland, who haven't been beaten at home yet this campaign, Stuart, and win. Yeah, indeed. So there's some very, very exciting games coming up, that is for sure. Goal at Old Trafford, Talksport's Mickey Gray.
Manchester United 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and it's yet again Patrick Dorgu. Good play from Benjamin Sesko. He gets his shot away, which is saved, and Dorgu from close range on the follow-up fires the ball into the back of the net. Man United 2, Wolves 1.
Thank you, Mickey. And Manchester United back in front against Wolverhampton Wanderers after an anxious night at Old Trafford. Here is Jesus trying to get away from Bogard as a Aston Villa move breaks down. Madueke flicks it with the back of his boot into the path of Ben White over on the far side, and then looks for the return. There looks to be a trip on Jesus, but the referee is allowed to play on because Aston Villa are in possession. They're bringing it clear. And I think the inquest will go back to the contributions of those that have stepped in tonight. Why did Unai Emery make so many changes? Why did John McGinn not start the game? Here is Digne down the left-hand side with a cross into the box, and it's cleared away. So Digne and Maatsen, usually that's the other way around. Maatsen has kept Digne out of the team for a while, but tonight for the big game, Digne comes in. McGinn not being in the starting 11 for the biggest game of the season. It's a slight surprise, is it not?
Well, it was a surprise, but when you... At half-time, if you'd have turned round and said, well, actually, John McGinn coming on for Onana has probably changed the game in the wrong direction.
Possibly.
Which we know it wasn't solely down to that, but at half-time, I'm looking, I think he's got his tactics and his team selection absolutely spot on.
It's those moments in the second half when Arsenal take the lead, all of a sudden, and they find themselves behind the 8 ball, and they haven't found that comeback they've been famous for so far this season. They scoop the ball forward, looking for the run of Watkins. Watkins goes down under Nkapie's challenge. Referee says no penalty. We'll go back to Old Trafford. It's Talksport's Mickey Gray.
Where the goal has been chalked off, Sam. It's still Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Patrick Dorgu had the ball in the back of the net, but VAR checked it, and Matt Doherty had fell to the ground, but Dorgu was ahead of him, so they've chalked the goal off. Man United 1, Wolves 1.
Well, that is disappointing, and that certainly will be the subject of quite a lot of the Talksport phone lines over the course of the next 24 hours. 03717 223344. The sports bar open for business very shortly indeed. And I'm sure that Jamie O'Hara will rather enjoy himself this evening, getting stuck into all of the big results. Chelsea failing to win again, Everton beating Forest at home, West Ham failing to win again, Newcastle winning away from home, only the second time in 13 away games this season that Newcastle have picked up a victory on the road. Here is Andreas Garcia of Aston Villa. Have been well beaten here by a consummate second half performance from Arsenal. Into George Hemmings. There's going to be 8 minutes of added time. Bearing in mind they've been wandering around doing not very much for the last 8 minutes. Is that absolutely necessary?
Well, I think at times like this, if you're on the Villa coaching staff, you say to the fourth official, knock a few minutes off, fella, we're ready to go home, the chips are ready.
Well, they posted through to us that there were going to be 6 minutes, and I thought that was excessive. They've actually put up 8 now. Arteta is asking for an explanation as Marlon sends the ball forward into the air. It's headed away by Norgard and goes out over on the far side. Half the Aston Villa supporters have gone home, by the way. There's loads of empty seats in their end now because they've certainly seen more than enough. Unai Emery, who usually comes here and has a rather positive experience, looks a little bit on the dumbstruck side, let's just say that. His mouth is agape, he's looking on with his arms folded across his chest. He can't quite believe that his team have been blitzed by this Arsenal performance. The game between the two at the Villa Park earlier in the month was so much more competitive. This game just taken away by Arsenal's firepower in the second half. Ball in towards the near post. Watkins with a header, hits the inside of the post, comes back off, and it's a stunning save by David Raya from Donyell Marlon on the rebound of the frame of the goal to push the ball away to safety and preserve the clean sheet. He made a stunning world-class save against Brighton last weekend, which was labelled as the save of the season. This is unbelievable. How he got back up and got in front of Donyell Marlon to prevent a certain goal, I don't know. Watkins hit the inside of the post. It came back across the 6-yard box. He looked for all the world that Marlon was going to put it home, and somehow Raya sprung back up and smothered the ball.
He's one of the most agile goalkeepers in the Premier League, that's for sure. And it's almost been a tale of two goalkeepers, hasn't it? You know, two outstanding Premier League goalkeepers at each end of the pitch, and Raya's managed to keep a clean sheet while Martinez has contributed to one of the goals for Arsenal, at least.
Well, you can understand why Mikel Arteta was so keen to bring in David Raya and why he, early in his tenure, allowed Emi Martinez to go and experience Premier League life elsewhere. He believed that there needed a more solid, more agile goalkeeper. He certainly got that. It's taken him a couple of iterations. He went through Leno and Ramsdale before he managed to come across David Raya, but I think they've decided very much now that this is the man, and with every reason, because he has been absolutely spectacular again. That is an outstanding save from the Arsenal goalkeeper.
Well, you know, there's been a couple of big calls by managers in the Premier League, you know, moving goalkeepers on that have done well, Ramsdale being one of them. And I remember when Joe Hart was moved out at Manchester City, yes, it raised a few eyebrows, but both calls, you've got to say, in hindsight, look fantastic calls. And Raya's, well, the agility to get up off the floor is one of his key cards and his fortes, I think.
Well, a couple of weeks into the Claudio Bravo era at Manchester City, I'm not necessarily sure the Joe Hart thing looked as wise as it did once Ederson had come in. But yeah, certainly big calls, big managers have to make them. Here is Marlon down the left-hand side, getting into the area again, causing trouble for Arsenal, poking it through towards the post. It hits the post, comes back out to Watkins, and he sweeps it home, and it's 4-1. And Aston Villa have a consolation goal in stoppage time. They're on the score sheet, and Arsenal's clean sheet is over. And again, Donyell Marlon wriggling down the left touchline, getting into the box. A lovely little move by him. He received the ball just inside the left channel. He went beyond the defender, got into the 6-yard box, squeezed the ball against the post, and that actually deflected into the path of Watkins, who was lurking inside the 6-yard box like any good poacher. And he poked it home. It actually, I think, went through Raya's legs on the way to the upright. Yeah, Ollie Watkins has the goal. It's 4-1.
Yeah, it did. As I say, Marlon done really well, wriggling into the box, into a tight area. And we would just giving Raya all the plaudits, and one's gone through his legs.
The life of a goalkeeper, eh?
Life of a pundit, eh? Oh, it's a bad miss looking at it by McGinn.
Saka towards the far post, kept in by Trossard, and then Zubimendi has it inside the 6-yard area. He goes down, the ball comes back to Ødegaard, it's half cleared. His body's flailing around inside the 18-yard box. Ødegaard's got it again, left-footed shot, saved by Emi Martinez, and it will be cleared away. You're listening to Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 1 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. 95 minutes have been played. We've got 3 more added at the end of the 90. Arsenal, again, conceding late on. They have a tendency to concede late goals this season. It is a habit they need to get out of. It doesn't matter so much tonight, but it does matter in tight games. And when there have been so many tight games, it has caused them problems. But this has been a victory for Mikel Arteta. High stakes, high drama, high performance, and Arsenal have come out on top. And was there a handball by Victor Lindelof as the ball was struck towards goal just moments ago? His arm was certainly up in an unnatural position. I don't know if it struck it. It certainly caused an issue. Here down the right-hand side, the ball sent in by Andres Garcia as Aston Villa look for a second goal here to really sugarcoat the scoreline. Konsa flicks the ball over the top. It's away by Ben White, picked up by Hemming, sent back to Jimo Aloba. Half cleared by Zubamendi, Madueke away. Offside flag is up here. Referee is going to allow play on, is he? No. He's going to come back and get a foul for Ollie Watkins. A yellow card here. Right on the edge of the 18-yard box away to our right-hand side. Again, not entirely clear what Watkins did there to earn a yellow card, but the referee has dispatched it anyway. We're going into the 97th minute now. And Villa, who spent most of the season coming back from a deficit, are not going to be able to come back from this one. Even them are not going to be able to conjure up the powers of recovery in this game. It's been a brilliant run, 11-game winning run, but it's going to be put to the sword by Arsenal, who want to go on and be considered as potential champions, as big heroes of Arsenal. Patrick Vieira up in the gods today, watching on. Martin Keown is here, watching from the director's box as well tonight. We've bumped into a few Arsenal legends. Lee Dixon commentating for American television tonight. They'll start to believe that the long wait for a title might well soon be over. The last team to do it, the Invincibles. Is this going to be the next iteration of an Arsenal team to lift the Premier League trophy? Certainly, it feels a lot more likely tonight, Stuart, than it did in those narrow wins over Wolves and Brighton and Everton.
Yeah, it did, but they were still ticking the wings off. You looked at the depth of the squad, and that was their key card, you know. The likes of Madueke come in when Saka was injured, and you thought, wow, and delivered performance after performance.
Here is Raya picking the ball out of the sky and taking it long, and that should be the end of the game. And Arsenal about to put 5 points between them and Manchester City. The ball goes out to the far side. Saliba takes it on. The referee blows the full-time whistle. And Arsenal beat the unbeatables to go 5 points clear of Manchester City, 6 points clear of Villa. And Manchester City will now need to win against Sunderland on New Year's Day just to keep the pace with the top Gunners. It's been a brilliant second half performance. 4 goals in that second 45. Gabriel, Zubamendi, Trossard and Jesus giving Mikel Arteta's side 3 points. It sees them swipe aside Villa's winning run on what is a pivotal night in the Premier League. New year looms and maybe new champions will emerge. Arsenal will certainly hope so. That is what they want to be. And you know what? This time they might just get it. In front of pop star and Arsenal fan Dua Lipa, Gunners fans have the night where they start to believe they could be the one. Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 1.
And Unai Emery was not happy at all, went straight down the tunnel. I don't think he even shook hands with Mikel Arteta as they sing their Angels song. They sung better songs than that this evening, singing to Emi Martinez. You just, I think they were saying bad, David Raya. And singing to Emery, what's the score? And the ultimate insults, Arsenal fans, to Aston Villa tonight. Are you Tottenham in disguise? Villa's winning run ended in brutal fashion by Arteta's Arsenal. And we didn't see it coming when Rice was ruled out pre-match. Didn't even see it coming at half-time when it was 0-0, and actually Aston Villa had probably had the better of the first half. But Stuart Pearce, we said before the game that had a statement win in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. They needed one in the Premier League, and boy did Arsenal get that statement win tonight.
Yeah, I think it was a statement winning result. I'm not sure in performance it was, because for 45 minutes I think Villa with a better side, without a doubt. They failed to score, and the game changed at half time. Onana coming off injured, and Villa just weren't the same team in the second half.
They weren't, and they were kind of bullied, really, for the first goal especially. Gabriel goes up. Listen, another referee might rule it out for an elbow close to the throat, high on the chest of the goalkeeper. What you said was really interesting, that the goalkeeper should have elected to punch that ball, right?
Without a doubt. I think when you're going to try and catch it, but you're going over the head of the player that's in front of you, you're always gambling that if you do drop it in any way, shape or form, you've got the player between you and the ball as such, and there's every chance you're either going to give a penalty away or he'll put it in the back of the net. Villa will come away from here and say, we failed to capitalise on our opportunities. The goalkeeper's dropped one in his own net, and Sancho's jumped out the way of a challenge that's cost his team a goal. Two really bad mistakes at bad times during the game.
After that first goal, there was some terrific football. I thought Odegaard was looking back to his best. He's been set a challenge this season with Eberici Eze coming in. Eze, who made an error for the Matty Cash goal at Villa Park earlier this month. And Odegaard, it seems to have helped him raise his game, and he was involved in the Zubamendi goal, which was a lovely finish. The Trossard one, a lovely finish. And Jesus hasn't been on the field for a minute, and he scores. And having him back fit, and let's not forget Havertz is on the bench, they've gone 5 points clear, and they're actually, even though Rice was out injured tonight, it feels like they're a little bit stronger.
Well, you've got Havertz, Rice have not contributed at all in the game today. It shows the depth of this Arsenal squad. They're not just average players, they're outstanding players. You know, they're international players and good international players. And it shows Arsenal now at the halfway stage, 5 points ahead of Manchester City, put a statement down in the result with Villa. I think there's only Manchester City can actually catch them, and I don't think they will. I think Arsenal will end up getting stronger as time goes on.
Is that you ruling Villa out now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want the XG for tonight?
Yeah.
You bothered, yeah? Okay. Final XG, Arsenal 3.13, Villa 3.09.
Well, it just shows that most of those probably would have come maybe in the first half, but I suppose they did have a couple of opportunities in the second when the game was won.
Have a think about a man of the match. We'll be back with you shortly. Stuart Pearce, former England captain. And let's go to Old Trafford. What a result there. Fans can't be happy. Mickey Gray.
It's finished Manchester United 1, Wolves 1, a game lacking in quality and a game that needed goals. They did come in the 27th minute when Joshua Zirkzee showed his strength to shrug off his marker to put United ahead. Wolves grew more into the game and got themselves level just before the break. A Ladislav Krejci header. It was Wolves who had the better of the chances in the second half. Krejci again testing Lammers Mosquera, should have scored from the follow-up. United did have the ball in the back of the net through Dogo, but he was offside after a VAR check. Yet another unconvincing performance from United. More points dropped for Ruben Amorim's men, and Rob Edwards' Wolves, who battled and maybe deserve more from tonight, are still searching for their first win of the season. It's finished here at Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Wolves 1.
Mickey, what was the fans' reaction, the United fans' reaction at the end of the game in the full-time whistle?
Well, Adrian, I've got to say, I don't think they were pleased with the performance all night long. Look, they went back to a back five tonight. I really don't know why they did that. The flow wasn't in the game. They never quite got going. They had half chances in the first half. But Wolves, to their credit, they battled and they deserved to get that level just before half-time. And they were the side that came out in the second half and had the better chances. And there was murmurs, there was groans. He had to bring youngsters on again, Ruben Amorim, in this game. It lacked that little edge tonight. And when you think Man United are starting to get back to winning ways here at Old Trafford, it wasn't a performance that I was expecting, I have to say. And it's all credit down to the way that Wolves set themselves up. They made it really hard for Man United to break them down. But even when they did break them down, they just never had the quality, Adrian, in that final third. So I was a bit disappointed, but I have to say, Wolves are battling. I know they're probably down already, but they showed the quality tonight, and they probably should have actually won the game, if I'm brutally honest with you. It was a bit of a poor show from Man United yet again.
Doesn't matter if it's 5 or 4, Amorim not convincing anyone right now. Man United 1, Wolves 1. Earlier, West Ham 2, Brighton 2, Forest 0, Everton 2, Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2, Burnley 1, Newcastle 3. And here at the Emirates, fans are leaving. They're happy. Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 1. Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Former England captain Stuart Pearce, who are you going for?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, this, for me. But I'm going to go for Gabriel. I think he, considering he hasn't started a game for so long, I think he led his team really well. He was aggressive in what he was trying to achieve, and I think he was as good as anybody.
Yeah, at both ends, and looked shattered when he came off, but it's good to have him back if you're an Arsenal fan. That's Gabriel, our Here For It hero, man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here For It. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Let's give you the Scottish Premiership results. Dundee 2, Kilmarnock 1, Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0, Livingston 1, Dundee United 3, Rangers beat St Mirren 2-1, Motherwell beat Celtic 2-0. Third place Rangers now only 3 points behind Celtic, who remain 3 points behind the leaders Hearts. The big headlines tonight: West Ham picked up a point to gain ground on Forest, who lost at home to Everton. Chelsea booed off as they were held at home by Bournemouth, who haven't won in 10. Burnley can't find a win from anywhere, beaten at home by Newcastle. Wolves get a third point of the season. It finished 1-1 at Manchester United. United can't beat Wolves at home. Wolves go into 2026 without a win so far this season. And here at the Emirates, it was a statement win that sent the Gunners 5 points clear at the top of the table. And if there was a WhatsApp group of title contenders, the latest message on there would say Aston Villa have left the group. Sports Bar is next, 03717 223344.